And welcome, everybody. It's Tuesday, and you know exactly what that dadgum damn well means. It's time for another rousing, rocking edition of To the Turnbuckle, presented by, as always, Bruzernation Productions, right here proudly on Heel Turn Wrestling, right here on Facebook. And there is a lot to get into and a little time to do it. But as always, I'm Logan Morris, and we've got to introduce these cast of characters, these band of thieves, these fellas. And of course, we have to start with the man that's in the virtual room. He's my favorite clergyman. I'm talking about the man that puts the AEW in awesome. I'm talking about the man that gets more pushes than any shopping cart you could ever think about at any particular store that you choose to shop at. Of course, that means the father of the year, the producer of commercials, the guy that just makes it all go. Hell, look, he edits his show and gets it up on Anchor because he just never stops. Mr. McCarthy, how are you? Yowza, what a sneeze.
Bless you, sir.
Thank you.
He gave me time to actually turn his mic on.
Oh, sure. Forget to turn my mic on. I see how it is. It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, are you sure?
I thought we were friends, Travis.
I'm surprised. Be honest.
That's fair.
Mr. Blue Cup that seems to disappear every time you hold it up to your face.
Well, you're looking well. You're looking well. You're looking a little gruffy. It's good. You got the little summertime beard going on. Are you ready for double or nothing this weekend, buddy?
Yes, of course I am. Not ready to stay up till midnight, but I can't wait to watch it. I don't care.
The all night pay-per-view extravaganzas. Speaking of all night, Napper, you and I will be all night Coke 600 in that night. Man.
All night long.
But let me officially introduce you. The man that puts the produce in produce. He is the ultimate producer. He is a PRO. You see what I'm saying down there? He's got the hottest wheels in motorsports. He's got the hottest wheels at Squirrel Air. He's got the hottest wheels in all of podcasting, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm talking about the man that some would say is our own Dapper Yapper, that some would say is quiet and humble but always ready to rumble. The man that gives divas and women a chance to this day, Lauren's future hubby. I'm talking about Travis Gnarly Napper. How are you?
The give divas a chance. I like that one. That might have to stay. I like that one. I'm doing very well. Glad that things finally got going. Sorry that we were kind of late. Things did not work out so well. Had to put a lot of things in place. Technology was not my friend today, and I showed up a little bit late. So, but we're good. We're getting going. Trust me, we can make it work. We got 3 hours to do it, and I already dropped things. So this is going to be a great, great show. You stick around and watch.
Yes.
And now I have to look at this way. It's weird seeing like my profile on that screen. And it's weird.
Yes. Subscribe to our Patreon for official To the Turnbuckle mugshots. That's going to be great. We're gonna black and white photo that son of a bitch and just have a whole lot of fun. Mugshots. We're paying tribute to Buff Bagwell. Wow! Said that.
Hey-oh!
Shots fired already.
Said too sweet, brother, too sweet. All right, there's a lot to get into, but it's some breaking news from a few hours ago. Adnan Virk and WWE mutually agree to part ways. That's how they put it in the PR spin. He was the voice of Monday Night Raw for all of 7 episodes. Let's give it up for Adnan. I mean, that's 7 more episodes than I've ever done because they wouldn't be stupid enough to hire me. Maybe someday.
I wouldn't necessarily call him stupid.
Well,
A little bit on the deranged side, but not stupid.
take a walk on the wild side.
Wow, thing.
I miss the look. I understand that he's kind of Ricky Vaughn-esque, and I get that's what we're going for, but I like the trucks better. You know, the old flute, get that sucker going.
Yeah.
I mean, a little pre-1965 music. McCarthy, screw Adnan. What do you think of the different version of Wild Thing?
I like the new version of Wild Thing.
I did too.
Why wouldn't I?
I was going to say,
wouldn't I?
when we brought it up, I think we finally made it big, boys, because I think somebody finally paid attention to this show because they did exactly what we said they needed to do. They rocked it up a little bit instead of the old version. They gave them a little bit more of a rock version of Wild Thing. So maybe somebody's paying attention to this show after all.
Look,
I think a lot more
everyone should
people
be paying
pay attention to this show than you think.
Speaking of paying attention, Adam Dell, good to have you in the comments, you beautiful man. Good to have you in the comments. Yeah, you know. Yep, you know.
Because it's weird. It's like we'll talk about something, and then JR will talk about the same thing that we had talked about like the following week on his show. It's really weird.
And God bless the fella, but look, he probably needs to take some notes from us at this particular stage of his career.
I'm not going to go that far. That's egregious. I still would like to meet that man.
Sure, I would too. I wouldn't tell him
in
I
a
said that.
professional setting.
I wouldn't tell him I said that. Look, all I'm saying is we're a little fresher than he is. He's a little long in the tooth, a little ripe, whatever have you, but God bless the GOAT of commentary. So let's segue back. Speaking of commentary and who's not the GOAT, Adnan Virk. He got the can quickly. Of course, if you're a traditional sports fan, Adam, I'm talking to you. You would know him from ESPN, his usual ESPN, now MLB Network quite regularly. He did 7 illustrious, episodes of Monday Night Raw, and, well, another one walks the plank, boys. Look, thoughts on Adnan Virk kicking the can, Mr. McCarthy?
Not surprised. He got thrown in the deep waters, and I mean, he's used to calling baseball, and baseball and pro wrestling are like two totally different things. I mean, not that anything is like pro wrestling, but I mean, maybe he should have started on NXT for a couple weeks.
Well, they're both sports, and so they have that in common. Are you building a hammer back there? I mean, you're working on a building? Go ahead, McCarthy. Napper was being rude.
Of course he was. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, or maybe not have him try to be the lead on everything. I feel like they threw a lot at him, and I don't know if he has an affinity for professional wrestling. I think it could have just been a job offer. He might have remembered watching it years ago, but as busy as he always has been, when the hell was he watching wrestling? He had to keep up on baseball.
Well, if you're just offering jobs out, Vince, call me, in the words of Blondie. On the line, you can call me. All right, copyright. Mr. Napper, thoughts on Adnan Virk and WWE parting ways after 7 episodes of Raw, 1 pay-per-view. He debuted on the Raw after Mania. Thoughts on his short run, thoughts on this decision, and who do you think becomes the new third man, brother?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a little disappointed. I agree with Jason.
I did the best I could for you.
I know. I thought he got put a little bit to the wolves by being put in the lead position of Monday Night Raw. If this was NXT, I don't think it's that bad. Because to me, if they were going to have Corey Graves on that panel, no one is supposed to be lead position on that panel or on that commentary team besides Corey Graves. If you have those 3 guys, Corey Graves is your lead commentator, no questions asked. Why they tried to make it work with Corey Graves as the color commentator and Adnan be the... And I get it. He's not a color commentator, and especially in wrestling, I can't expect him to be the color commentator. But if that was your plan all along, Byron Saxton should have been the lead with Adnan being support and Corey being support. Byron should have been the one doing the play-by-play, so to speak, and the lead of that commentary team if you didn't want to have Corey Graves be the lead there. So I think either doing it that way or putting him in NXT, where I don't think Wade Barrett or Beth Phoenix, no disrespect, are as much of an overwhelming personality as Corey Graves is. Corey Graves is arguably their best commentator they have, besides Michael Cole, who they love. But I really do. I feel like he was thrown to the wolves. He wasn't necessarily... I don't want to say he wasn't given a fair shot. He was given 7 episodes, but at the same time, it seemed like it was doomed to fail from the beginning. It's not like SmackDown, where Michael Cole is being supported by Pat McAfee, who, by the way, also has wrestling experience, which is why it works so well. This was never seemed like it was going to work so well because they threw a sports guy, no offense, into a position that has nothing to do with anything he's ever done or worked with. It doesn't work. It can, but in this case, it did not work. As far as who takes the third spot, no idea. No clue. You said, I know you said in the break, or before we got started, Tom Phillips. That's the only spot I can think of, unless they really want to bring Vic Joseph up.
And he already called Raw for a few weeks, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, but they had him with Dio Madden, and I can't even remember who else.
It was. I think
Was it Joe?
I think it was. I think for the first several weeks, it was him, Madden, and King.
Yeah.
Remember they brought back King randomly.
Yeah. Because there's so much there. No disrespect to the King. But.
First of all, that is a. I'm not going to sit here and let you besmirch the good damn name of Jerry the King Lawler. I'm not going to let you besmirch. And we're going to. I know there's allegations there. Don't worry. I know it's not exactly a good name, but come on. Show some respect to Jerry the King Lawler. How about you, McCarthy? You respect Jerry the King Lawler?
Sure, why not?
Good. Absolutely.
He was a pretty good wrestler.
Speaking of people I don't respect,
he's just
Don
really
Callis.
good at being egregious, if you will. That just wouldn't be the same.
Speaking of people I don't
as-
respect, Don Callis. You notice how it's official now. He's not an Impact executive anymore at all. He doesn't have any duties. He's not even like part-time or kind of there. He's not even on like the board or just going to make some decisions. He gone. Mr. McCarthy, thoughts on Don Callis and Tony Khan continuing to pillage and plunder the assets of Impact Wrestling?
I mean, I think I said it pretty good last week. Maybe it was just a happy accident. It's not like Tony Khan went out to cause
not a
Don
bedroom
Callis to want
incident.
to work for him. It just so happened that maybe they see more money with them working together than him staying with Impact. And sometimes that's all this is, a business decision.
Hey, look, we can go ahead. I'm going to send that basketball to you in the mail. Can you spin it as well as you spin this?
I don't know. I'd have to give it a try. I don't think I'm spinning anything. So I bet I could spin a basketball better.
I've seen him around the store.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Mr. Napper, what do you think of the Pillage and Plunder Fest from Don Callis, Kenny Omega and Company?
Hi-ho! I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. I'm disappointed. I'm going to mute McCarthy so he can't yell at me for a moment.
We were right.
I know. And he's not going to admit it. I'm not shocked. That's the best I can say. I'm not shocked. Good for him. On to possibly bigger and better things. Even though he was an executive of a company, even though that company seems like it's slowly dying little by little.
We've been saying that for a long time. It's kind of the cockroach.
It really is. Hopefully it lasts quite a bit longer past when we've said it's supposed to die. I think this is egregious. I'm going to use McCarthy's word. I think it's egregious. You've been putting all your time and effort into Impact, and then just because this AEW deal comes along, you move on from that. I was really hoping that he would stick around because to me, that means this deal with Impact means nothing to him. Because now it's all about Kenny. It's all about AEW. It has nothing to do with Impact anymore. He could care less about Impact, from my opinion. And it sucks because it continues to share the narrative that they don't give a damn about Impact and just decided to take their title belt. And again, we've said it time and time again. That's not AEW's fault that Impact decided to let them have the title belt.
That's on Scott D'Amore.
That's on Scott D'Amore. That's on Impact. But at the same time, the fact that he's willing to just up and leave Impact and move to AEW, to me, it's selfish, and at the same time, it's just a little bit disgusting because you could have been the middleman here. And now it's like, nope, completely go to AEW. What are we going to do now? Because, again, We're not seeing any Impact stars on AEW television, and I'm pretty sure now that Don Callis is no longer involved, that you're definitely not going to see them now.
Mm-hmm.
Any hope that Impact had to have any sort of shot in this whole deal just went out the window.
Yeah, it's the pillage and plundering of Impact Wrestling. If you thought that Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff raked him over the coals, Kenny Omega has got nothing. Look. We thought that Hogan and Bischoff were the greatest politicians of all time. I'm here to tell you, the Omega Callis Brigade is right up there with them. They should put out some 2024 shirts because they could absolutely just screw a company over. Good Lord. You talk about an absolute assault of integrity of a wrestling program. They are doing that week in, week out. I watched AEW this week. I sat through WWE Light, and did you see the Impact Championship anywhere on their much bigger platform?
No, but you know what I did see? The NWA Women's Championship. Not only on the show, but was defended. Imagine that.
Defended. We saw the belt, Aubrey Edwards showing it off.
Yeah.
She had the nice orange eyeshadow with it. I thought it really popped.
I agree.
thought it really popped.
I mean, you guys are talking like this is the first time the NWA Women's Championship has been defended on a Dynamite.
That's the problem!
That's a regular occurrence.
It's not! It's like the 50th time it's been on the show.
semi-regular.
But again, where's the Impact Championship? Not even on the flipping show. Was Kenny on the show? Yes, he actually was. Was it around his waist? No. Was it over his shoulder? No. Did he have the AEW World Championship? Sure. But he didn't have any of the other championships that were in his possession as the belt collector.
I cannot believe that Scott D'Amore and Conan, for that matter, from AAA, need to take negotiation lessons from the lead singer Smashing Pumpkins. Yep. Kenny Omega is a vampire, people. Sent to drain. Okay? Sent to drain. See what I did there?
Now that's egregious.
Yeah, well, that's damn
Blame
good.
Kenny
what it
Omega
is.
for everything.
That's
He's not
damn
the one
good, is what it
making
is.
these
All right.
decisions.
Speaking of egregious individuals,
And did you think that maybe this was Scott D'Amore's idea? Maybe
if
there was
so, then
becoming a
somebody should
conflict.
check in for dementia.
Maybe there was becoming a conflict of interest. And he's like, look, if you're going to do so much of this for them, why don't you just go work for them? We don't know. That could have happened.
if this was Scott D'Amore's idea, somebody get his head examined. He might have dementia, CTE. I'm not kidding, because this is one stupid idea. I said that.
They have a board, right? I would assume.
I don't. Look, none of us really know what Impact has or doesn't have.
Because if they do, he needs voted out immediately.
Well, he just needs to come to a senses. I like Scott D'Amore.
I don't think he has any at this point.
I like Scott D'Amore. I'm a Scott D'Amore guy. I like Scott a lot. I'd love to have Scott on this show. But can't you see, in the words of the Marshall Tucker Band, can't you see what Kenny Omega and his band of misfits is doing to you? Oh, man. Okay. Well, let's move on to, we'll get to AEW because I thought it was a pretty awful episode. By the way, here's a preview, Mr. McCarthy. That may have been the worst promo that Jericho has cut in his AEW history. God, it was awful. God, it was awful. Anyway, we'll get to that. Let's talk about awful. Velveteen Dream. He got cut, released, let go, finally, for better or worse. I know some have been anxiously awaiting with bated breath, sort of like someone going to the chair. You know, people get out there and they camp and all that garbage. I know people have been waiting on this a long time. Reportedly wasn't due to the allegations made against him. It was reportedly due to some behavioral issues that had come up the last few months. Can't hardly blame the guy. Where the hell's he been? Hasn't worked a match this year on TV. I think his last match was December 23rd against Adam Cole. He released a statement, a lengthy one, denying the allegations leveled against him as far as the heavy, sanctions. And I got to tell you, this is going to be controversial, folks. I'm inclined to believe him. his explanation made a lot of sense. I don't know the facts. I don't know that's the truth. But his explanation, it seemed like we took a lot of circumstantial evidence, and he said, well, here's the circumstances. And I thought he admitted to a level of fault that was necessary, but this idea that he was some sort of predator got kind of blown out of proportion. He explained it, I thought, very well. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is the predator that he has been accused of being, and if so, if that ever truly comes to light, I'll be the first to pronounce it. But, Mr. Napper, thoughts on his release, thoughts on his statement, where do you stand?
Well, usually I try to not pick one side or the other in these kinds of situations, especially since we still, I wouldn't say necessarily know the full entire truth.
Sure, but
I will say this.
Trying to give viewers here.
No, I get you. And in this particular case, I'm going to say, in all seriousness, I am going to say that I agree with you. I agree that I think that he is on the more innocent side of this because of what you just said. I read the statement, same as you, and I'll say he's one of two things. He's either really good at BSing a lot of people by giving a lot of detail, or he's telling the truth because, like you said, it was a lengthy statement with a lot of details. So either he's really good at fabricating a story, or he's telling the truth detail by detail, because there were a lot of details in his statement, and I have a hard time believing a guy that can recount that much, because he gave a lot. I have a hard time believing the guy that can recount that much and be lying through the entire thing. And I gotta say, if that is the case, kind of makes WWE look bad, because we said that he's fully in belief that the allegations steamrolled his departure. And if that is the case, and they for months said that wasn't the case and said, oh, it's because of the car crash and it's this and that, I believe part of it is behavioral issues. I fully believe that probably has something to do with it, because at the end of the day, I would believe that he does have some behavioral issues because he probably became a little bit too much of the character. But at the same time, you can't deny that it probably was a lot of the allegations. They're not new to doing this. Mm-hmm. Enzo Amore, albeit I still think he kind of got what he deserved because the guy's a little bit of an ass, he was unfairly fired because of his allegations that were against him.
Certified G, and you can't teach that.
No, you can't. So I do. I'm inclined to believe him. I'm very curious to see what comes of this. He didn't have to give the denial of the allegations. He even said that in his statement, that he didn't have to do this. But because of the media and because of the way this has been covered so much, he felt it necessary to give his side of the story. And he's fully well within his right to do that. But I'm very curious what over the next couple of weeks this is going to lead to, if it leads to anything, because he very well may have got ousted for nothing.
It is at least on the table and possible. We want to know what you think, Buckle Brigade. We'd like to know, what do you think about Velveteen Dream getting cut, getting released, his statement on his allegations? What do you think of Don Callis being out of Impact? Are Napper and I correct that this has been an absolute pillage and plunder of Impact Wrestling, or is this just some circumstances that unfortunately kind of got out of hand for Scott D'Amore and it didn't go well, and no ill intent? Let us know what your thoughts are, please, in the comments below. We would appreciate that. Speaking of comments, we've had him quiet for a little while. Had him simmer down. I talked bad about Chris Jericho. I didn't want him to have a tantrum. What are your thoughts, my friend, on Velveteen Dream getting released, and what are your thoughts on his statement, if you read it, denying his allegations?
So he hasn't been used in months, so I'm not really surprised. And it probably does have something to do with the allegations and behavioral issues, as you guys said. And you know what? It's hard. How do I say this? They're independent contractors. Even though they sign a contract, they can pretty much be let go for anything. So it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong, but he joins the list of the group of people that have been released for better or worse in the past year, 2 months. I think because of the allegations, he's taking it as that. That's how he feels, and he's allowed to feel that way. But at the end of the day, if they're still cutting costs, they cut office jobs today. And I know it sounds like I'm okaying the release of someone for once, but it's gotten to the point where budget cuts here, budget cuts there. They've been releasing people for 3 weeks. So I don't know how much that made that decision for them, the allegations against him, or not.
Look, it's not often that I give you any credence of points here. That is a fair point. It could just be a case of they've been on a bit of a releasing spree here in the last, say post WrestleMania, and maybe it was just a case of, look, if we don't have anything for him creatively, it might have been, when the releases started, it might have been, all right, guys, you got a few weeks to figure out something for Velveteen. If you can't figure it out, we got to cut him loose. And maybe they never did. It is true. We don't know what went on backstage. We don't know what may have come up in NXT creative meetings. Maybe it was a case of, look, either we got to do something with this guy or we need to cut him loose. So you're going to do something with him or not? Maybe he had lost that many friends in the locker room and on the creative team that they were like, I got nothing for him. I don't know, but I do hope this. Assuming these allegations are not true, and again, I'm inclined to feel that way after the statement. That is not me saying I know the facts. I do not. I'm just saying how I'm inclined to feel. Assuming they are not true, I hope to see Patrick Clark, Velveteen Dream, somewhere in the relatively near future, because he could bring a lot of. I think AEW's getting a little crowded. Granted, they're about to, and it's going to be our next topic. They're about to embark on another journey, but I think they're getting a little crowded. Boy, could he do wonders at Impact? Could he do wonders at Ring of Honor? Could he give that kind of? Could he do wonders at MLW? Could he give those kind of companies some, for better and worse, some serious name recognition? Because he's kind of the last of a dying breed in terms of really getting kind of lost in the character, and that's both good and bad. We've seen the bad side, pardon the pun, the dark side of the ring when you get a little too lost in the character, and it's hard to outrun yourself. We just saw the Brian Pillman episode on Dark Side of the Ring a few weeks ago. And of course we talk all the time, and luckily he has somehow managed to outrun himself, but barely. Ric Flair and Hogan, and so. He is the last of a dying breed, and that's probably a great thing in many ways. But it is. There's still value in, man. Is he kayfabing? That's why we have such great value for Bray Wyatt. That's why we respected the Undertaker for so long in terms of his keepage of kayfabe. That's why we all are fascinated by Brock Lesnar, because when he shows up, you don't know, and so. There is value in that, so I hope to see Patrick Clark end up somewhere, again, assuming these allegations are not true. If they are true, then may you never be seen or heard from in a public format again. All right, now there's big news to get to. I have made McCarthy wait with bated breath. AEW will be moving to TBS. That's right, the Superstation, old school. Hell, they ought to start those shows at 6:05. Beginning January of 22, there will be a new show called AEW Rampage. It's the second show that we've been promised, a 1-hour show on Fridays at 10 p.m. beginning on August 13th. That will be moving over as well. And there will be 4 quarterly specials on TNT each year. So think of Clash of the Champions, old school, brother, old school. Mr. McCarthy, I always hail you as the man that puts the AEW in awesome, and you're the man that puts the SPIN into spin. So, what do you think of AEW going to TBS January 22 and quarterly specials, and perhaps some of the biggest news, we finally get that secondary primetime show, 1 hour Friday nights, 10 p.m. August 13th. You have the floor, good sir.
So I think it's a good thing for everybody. I don't know what to expect from Rampage as far as what type of wrestling show that's going to be, because it should probably differentiate itself a little bit from Dynamite. I think it's a win-win, though, for everybody. Like, it's weird that they're getting changed to another channel in the middle of a contract, but Turner Media could be looking at it like, these ratings are pretty good. You know what could use a boost in ratings? TBS. It also gives Tony Khan and AEW the ability to not get their schedule pushed around like this week, because ratings do tell the story. It's AEW will never get preferential treatment over basketball, just like WWE won't get preferential treatment from football and so forth, and the same for AEW. Those sports do bring higher eyes to the television. So this way, they're not getting bumped around throughout the playoffs anymore. You get an extra hour of TV. You get those 4 specials on TNT. And Turner gets to boost the ratings of TBS all at once. And then you can talk about throwing advertisements in. Pay Fox, here, I want to advertise at between 8 and 10 o'clock on Fridays on your channel. So you get the eyes leaving SmackDown to come to you. And you don't have to skip SmackDown to watch it. It's genius.
Mr. Napper.
That is egregious. Egregious. No, but he is right.
You said that out loud.
I did. I don't usually tell him that, and especially when we're working around each other. But I do think he's right. It's not a terrible thing for them. It is probably going to be a little bit of a dip in ratings. You are going to bring ratings to TBS, which for Turner is great because TNT has already plenty of viewership. TBS, not so much. They get viewership usually around March Madness. They usually get ratings around the playoffs and stuff like that. But other than that, they don't really get a lot of great ratings. You got Impractical Jokers. That's really about it. That's kind of their bread and butter right now, unless there's something else I'm forgetting.
Not like bread and butter.
So it'll be good for TBS because TNT doesn't really need the ratings boost and TBS does, and I don't think it really is going to hurt AEW that much to be moved to a new station. One that majority-wise people still get, even with cable or streaming services, whatever Hulu TV, YouTube TV, and stuff like that. I'm not sure which ones do get it and which ones don't, but I'd be very curious to say that probably majority of them do. So it's not that big of a jump for them. It is just kind of weird that after 2 years they're being made to make this jump. But McCarthy is right. They don't have to fight off the sports because those are going to come first. More so basketball than hockey. I'm really kind of surprised that hockey forced their hand because, no offense, hockey's not really that. I love hockey, but it's not broadcasted in a national light like basketball, like football, sometimes like soccer. It's just by ESPN, it's been ignored for a decade. So it's kind of weird that hockey was the one that kind of pushed the needle for them to make this move. But at the same time, when you have 2 major sport leagues come to your channel, you're probably going to push one of your TV shows off to the side.
Yeah, I feel you on that. A few comments to get to. Stephen Alexander Howard says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Stephen?" He said, the shows like Bar Rescue and Catching Nightmares? If there was a show where Jim Cornette went around and addressed and attempted to improve local wrestling promotions, would you guys watch it? You mean when Jim Cornette would go around to outlaw mud shows and you know what? Shut up and take my money, Steven. Yes, I would. I would like, subscribe, share, post, tweet, text, buy, everything on that. Mr. McCarthy, I know that you are a proud member of the Cult of Cornette. And so, would you watch old Jim Cornette go around and help the locals?
Dude, yes, of course I would. Like, that's like, take how I generally feel about that, man. But, dude, that Steven's onto something, man. That is money. It's like Gordon Ramsay fixing restaurants, but in pro wrestling. And Jim Cornette does have a vast amount of knowledge to impart to these younger promotions. So I would watch it for sure. That should be Vice TV's next show. I hope they're watching this because that's a good idea.
Yes, it should. Yes, it should. Just it would be, come to Corny's and he'll help you out.
That's the name of the show.
Come to Corny's.
Corny's.
He'll help you out. Steven, you are onto something.
That's
and he should
brilliant.
And he should get paid in cheeseburgers. Extra mayo, mother. And can you see him now working on a Wendy's triple with extra cheese? And then somebody messes up an
He would
obvious...
only make it a season, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Which, I mean, is good.
like 2 episodes tops.
Yeah, right.
Like, can you imagine if he was working on a Wendy's triple extra cheese and then somebody takes like a flat back bumper on and he just loses it?
Just throws the cheeseburger in the ring.
Just extra mayo, mother.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, that would be perfect. That'd be perfect.
So good.
Oh, yes, and it should be presented by the new law offices of Stephen P. New. No doubt about it, Stephen. You are correct, sir. Yes. Stephen Panu, Stephen Panu, Stephen Panu. Oh, yes. I would watch all of that. I think it would be the highest rated program. If they could somehow get past the censors, and I mean, South Park's been on like 25 years or 30 or whatever.
Simpsons, too.
So if they could somehow get past the, censors, yes, this thing's the hottest thing in TV ever saw. Move over, Judge Judy, because here comes Corny. And you can
If they subtitle it, is that wrong? Is that against the FCC?
I mean, frankly, it shouldn't.
Because you're gonna bleep it, obviously.
Frankly, it shouldn't be. There's a deaf community to think about out
Right,
there. There's a deaf community to think about out there. And damn it, they need TV too.
I figure you're gonna bleep it. If you bleep it, there's no audio.
Mother.
Yeah, so I mean, is subtitles crossing the line? Like, is that too far?
And like, can you imagine in the season and probably series finale, Cornette and Kenny Omega come eye to eye? Yep.
One better. Kenny Omega, Cornette, Vince Russo.
Oh yeah.
And Eric Bischoff.
Oh.
Eric Bischoff, Corny, one tag team. Kenny Omega, Vince Russo is the other tag team. The score to settle them all.
Look, they have. Corny has made clear he's not going to be within 100 miles of wherever Vince Russo is, or else he'll kill him. That's the truth.
That's a great season finale.
Steven says maybe we get Rick Rubin to invest. You're right. Rick Rubin can do a lot of things. I mean, he got great recordings out of a dying Johnny Cash. He's done fantastic things. So look, why not? So he invested in Smoky Mountain. I hear you, brother. I hear you, Steven. Keep up the comments, my guy. We'll answer all your Jim Cornette questions and needs, along with your everyday wrestling needs. Don't we all need a little bit more Cornette in our life, McCarthy?
I mean, I guess so.
Yeah.
If that's what it is, then yes.
Steven said, God, dude, I think you guys are right. It's just money waiting to happen. We're not right, Steven. You came up with the idea. So if you don't get at least 30% of those profits, because the other 70 is going to Jim's stomach, then it's just egregiously wrong. It's just egregiously wrong. And we're not even being a bit facetious about that, to be quite frank with you. All right, TBS. Let me get my thoughts on that. Yes, Steven, keep the comments coming, brother. We do appreciate it. We will get to all of them as we can. And God bless you, brother. Hope you are well. Anywho, TBS. Here's my concern. TBS from 8 to 10, which is what I assume it'll be Wednesday nights, is a little bit more family-friendly than TNT. They don't start getting a little crazy until American Dad comes on at 10:30 or whatever. So I'm worried that it might be a little watered down compared to the usual, TV 14 product we're watching. I mean, you might have to start blurring out the middle fingers when the inner circle gets together. Because TBS is a little bit more family-friendly in those primetime hours. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Mr. McCarthy, would you agree with that?
I mean, yeah, sure. But that doesn't mean it's going to change anything about the product. It's not. I mean, it's still 8 to 10. Technically, they don't have to change anything.
But they aired at like 10. It's that 8 to 10 slot I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if this was 10 to 12
Well, yeah,
or 10
but
to 11, I hear you.
It's going to be on the FCC more often than that. I mean, they don't care.
Yeah, if it wasn't
Same
for the
time,
FCC, I'd give you the
time
finger
slot,
right here.
Like, and if what they've been putting in there between 8 and 10 is going to be improved by putting a little more risque wrestling on, then snag the ratings.
Yes, ratings are everything. That's what we found out with the Brian Pillman Dark Side of the Ring episode. Oh, wait, not the topic. Not the topic. And I was taking a shot at Vince there, having Melanie on Raw that same day. Steven says, love you guys. We love you too, Steven. We love you too. We'll get you on the Christmas card list here real soon. We'll get him. We'll get it sent out. He's got
Am I on the Christmas card list?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
And if you're Jewish, McCarthy will pose naked with a dreidel. Right, McCarthy?
Look. The money has to be right, and it can be anybody.
Yeah, we'll celebrate Kwanzaa too, and there you are with a sock. Anywho, I just wonder if it might water down the product a little bit, but nonetheless, good deal for AEW and Tony Khan. They offered him a third hour of Dynamite on TNT if he wasn't so inclined to take this deal. Thank God he did take that deal. I don't want any more 3-hour wrestling shows. I can barely handle the one I have. So yeah, I think it's a good deal overall. I do worry that it's going to water down the product a bit, just because. No, all right, tell me why I'm wrong.
No, I'm just going to say if that is the case, does it really hurt them that much? Because they still have so many other. This is where I kind of get into a little bit of muddy territory with AEW. Are they stretching themselves too thin? Because now they've got 4 potential programs in 2 years.
Well, nobody cares about the other 2. Let's be honest.
True. But maybe that, in the same breath, maybe that is how you get them more involved into those other programs, because let's say they do have to water down AEW Dynamite. Now you have the ability to take Dark and Elevation, which are on YouTube, and make them a little bit more grittier. Now, obviously, with YouTube, you got to be a little bit careful there, too, because they've been on quite a rampage, it seems, as of late with, trying to clean up a lot of their programming. But But maybe that's the route they go. They still have ways to get their edginess across without it being too ridiculously watered down.
That's fair. But in the words of Jim Cornette, I'm hoping this means that Paul White's going to come out of the Witness Federal Protection Program. There's going to be a second show. Let's get some more people here. Think about it. I called Sting the biggest waste of money in AEW thus far last week. Sure I did. I did say it. Me. But I was wrong. I think Paul White is. After some look, I can be wrong. I just don't.
At least they're getting commentary out of him
on YouTube. Where McCarthy, you're their biggest fan, Stan. Do you watch the YouTube programs regularly?
Not regularly. I'm always doing stuff. They're good when I've watched it.
Thank you. So at least we see Sting on TV and all snowy and selling T-shirts and selling leg injuries. We got to stick Paul White on a milk carton because that 7-foot big son of a has gone missing. Now, he will be $1 to commentate the Casino Battle Royale. Oh, yay. Oh, yay. Yeah. Isn't he an active wrestler? When the hell is he getting in the ring? Oh, by the way, AEW also pretty much admitted that cinematic matches are crap because they advertise this is Sting's real return to the ring. Anyone notice that? He'll be like live in the... Exactly. It's not nearly the same thing.
In the Thunderdome.
Let's stop doing cinematic matches because AEW is literally capitalizing, or they're prostituting something else, They're literally capitalizing on the fact that it's not nearly the same thing. It's not in the same vicinity in AEW. Tony Khan, man, just admitted it live on the air. Oh, that'd put butts in the seats. Anywho, I think it's a good deal for AEW. I really do. I'm interested to see how it changes the product, if at all. Hopefully not. Well, I mean, for the better. This was an atrocious episode of AEW. We're going to talk about it a bit. This sucked. It was as bad as Raw. It truly was. It truly was. It was one of the worst programs they've ever put out. I thought Vince got that pin too. Because when you can make Chris Jericho sound like a bumbling fool, you're a magician. Anywho, we'll get to all that. Let's talk SmackDown real quick, shall we? Let's talk SmackDown real quick. Let me pull up my rundown because we were too lazy to go get I was too lazy to go get a printed copy because I'm fat. If I'm being quite frank with you, Loganites, I'm a fat fella. I'm a fat man. Apollo Crews defeated Kevin Owens, Big E, and Sami Zayn in the Intercontinental Championship match, Fatal 4-Way. Thought this was a pretty damn good main event right here. All things considered. What do you think, Mr. Napper?
I did. I thought it was great as well. And it works because right now it keeps a lot of guys that are kind of in the spotlight going and having something to do. We still don't know really what we're doing with Big E for the moment. I kind of hoped after the whole Intercontinental title thing.
You ought to be putting him to the Universal Championship with Roman Reigns.
That's
what I'm ready to acknowledge.
I thought that was going to happen too. I will say I'm fine with Cesaro for the moment.
Oh, I'm done with it already.
But I'm kind of wondering when they are going to make that push to put him in there, because right now he's the only one besides Seth Rollins, I guess, that I think is really going to be in that spot with Roman Reigns. But it keeps Sami Zayn busy. It keeps Apollo Crews busy. I love what they're doing with Apollo Crews. I've never been more invested in his character than I am with the way he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good look for him. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good match across the board. And we'll see where it goes from here. But the question for me now is, who do you have be the challenger out of this? And also, we saw Aleister Black return in this match.
Yes, we did.
Are we really going to take Big E and put him off to the side on the sidelines with Aleister Black for a month or two?
You know who ought to be the Dark Father? You know who's Tales of the Dark Father, right?
Yeah.
The Undertaker. Oh, and hear me out.
Fair.
Hear me out. I got a theory. Boys, I've got a theory.
Okay, Sterniker.
Hold on. I know, right? I'll be quiet. Anywho, you want to know how you connect it all together? This is not going to happen, but here's how it should happen. At least I can acknowledge that.
Okay.
You know how you can put it all together and make it make sense?
No.
At Elimination Chamber last year, remember? Who did The Undertaker save when he attacked AJ Styles?
I forget.
That would be Aleister Black. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
He popped in there out of nowhere,
yeah,
and I'll be doggone.
Yes.
And obviously, The Undertaker is long past his prime. And obviously, there's a lot of belief that he's done. I don't necessarily buy that, but we've had that discussion enough. I will concede it when he misses 2 Manias and 2 Saudi events. I just think that you could totally get, number one, you could still get some juice out of The Undertaker, and you could have the passing of the torch that everyone has ever talked about having without him having to go in there and get his ass kicked one more time. I just think that would be perfect, because who has told more dark tales in the last 30 years than The Undertaker? But I know that's a good idea, and Vince doesn't have many of those anymore. I just think that would you not enjoy that? The Undertaker on TV doesn't have to get physical, but again, he saved him last year. Mr. McCarthy, wouldn't that be a great idea?
I think it goes together too well. That's why you're right. They won't do it, but it's a great idea. Why? And I mean, why not? I mean, if Undertaker's willing to make the travel, especially with the next few weeks starting in Texas in July, live crowds are back. I think it would make a good way to make sure that Aleister Black doesn't get lost in the shuffle again. Because this could be like an epic feud between Aleister Black and Big E if it's given the attention and time it deserves. Could propel both of them, no matter who wins or loses the feud, into the main event title scene from this point on.
You know who I wish it could be, but it can't.
Go ahead.
Because he's dead.
Oh, yes! That would be fantastic.
Oh, it'd be so cool if it could be Paul Bearer.
Well, I mean,
that'd be awesome.
I mean, why not just put that hologram money to real good use? Make it happen.
That would be cool, but just eerie.
Isn't that the point? We already got a dolls.
Yeah, I get it, but like, that's a little too far.
No, bird to a hand is too far. Look, I know it won't happen. I'm just saying it would just be great. It puts Aleister over. It gives us all our Undertaker fix, and he doesn't have to get his ass kicked anymore. And we all don't have to worry about his health. I just think it would be fantastic. Think about it. Call me, Vince. I'll come work for your creative team as long as you fire Bruce. So that's who I think ought to be the Dark Father. But you're right. Great to see Aleister Black back, no matter what. Great continuity because he lost his eye. And unfortunately, unlike Rey Mysterio, he wasn't able to magically recover from those steel steps. Seth Rollins, you damn bandit. Now this guy's a face. And just Mr. McCarthy, thoughts on the Intercontinental Championship match and thoughts on Aleister Black's return.
Finally, he's on TV, so we'll just get that out first and foremost. Finally, after all this time, Aleister Black is on TV. And it was a good fatal four-way. I think it told the story it needed to. I think the rest of the summer is Kevin Owens, Apollo Crews, and Sami Zayn feuding for that title, because I do think that it needs to be Aleister Black and Big E in a high-profile, non-title feud before one of them challenges for the championship against Roman Reigns, and then the next time, the other one. It doesn't matter. As long as the feud goes well, why not keep pushing them both? This should lead to title shots for both of them. Should, because we both know they can go, but they don't always follow the path of least resistance, you may say, when they book this stuff. Hopefully, this will be an exception to that rule, because Big E's ready. And just because he gets a title shot doesn't mean he has to win it, because he can still have that big win at Royal Rumble and then at WrestleMania if that's the path they choose to go, regardless of whether he has a title shot in August, September, November. As long as he loses, you can still tell that coming over obstacles story that they like to tell with baby faces.
Certainly they could, and certainly they should, but again, as we pointed out, those are good ideas, and those are tough to come by these days on the weekly WWE product. But, like Journey, we don't stop believing anything is possible. We sure have hope. Do we not, Mr. Napper? Do we not?
We do.
Just saying. All right, Friday Night SmackDown opened up with a Parade of Champions. Because if you haven't heard the news... Ed Ferrari. No. Friday Night SmackDown opened up with a Parade of Champions because if you haven't heard the news, if you've been living with Patrick Starr, WWE is going back.
My name's not Rick.
Is this the Krusty Krab? Is this the Krusty Krab?
No, this is Patrick.
No, this is Patrick. All right. McCarthy, what's your favorite SpongeBob quote?
Don't have one?
You don't?
No.
That's egregious.
That's egregious? I don't know.
Yes,
about
it
that,
is.
sir.
SpongeBob is an icon and a national treasure. So, yes, it's egregious.
You remember when he went down to South High Street and they all started going... y'all have been down to South High Street. I get that in all the time. I make with PNC.
Show's off the rails. What else is new?
After last week's very serious episode in many ways.
Yes.
Unfortunately, New Jack passed away, and there were some mental health rumors about Bray Wyatt. We got to have fun here.
Did you see his tweet?
Yeah, I do miss him. I do miss him. But July 16th, they're going back on the road. Great. Everybody's all hyped. Woo! Where's my Columbus date? Somebody refund me for Raw.
You didn't get refunded?
I did.
I was going to say.
Didn't fit my narrative.
Oh.
It's my thing.
Fair.
And so, but you didn't hear me say that on the air. I didn't get a refund. I'll take another. Stimulus checks.
Oh, I just happened to mute your mic just as you said that.
Crazy. Wild. Whoo. So, they're going back on the road. And a man is rumored to be in talks to come back for that particular, at least the first show, if not a little while. Yep, the quiet of the night, the bad signal might be sent out. One John Cena, who I'm telling you, you haven't seen him a whole lot lately, but it's very, very possible. I hear it's even likely, according to Uncle D.
Or have we?
Well, I mean, that's why I'm drinking this Mountain Dew. Super Bowl commercial, Fast 9. He called Taiwan a country and had to apologize in Chinese or something. It was weird. I got somebody all fired up. I don't care. John Cena could literally pee on my face and I'd be like, it's raining. So, I mean, think about it. If John Cena peed on your face,
I don't want to think about that.
The privilege.
I really don't. I gotta tell you.
You got urinated on by the greatest kidneys that WWE's ever seen. I just assume. So the privilege. But anywho, the rumor is he's in heavy talks to come back, at least for that first show, if not for a little while. We don't know the clear details of how long that return would be. July 16th, McCarthy, do you think we finally see John Cena do what the hell he's supposed to do again?
Oh, I'm sure he'll be in for a one-off. I mean, he's still got to get in wrestling shape before he steps in the ring again, and you save that for SummerSlam, WrestleMania, one of those things, because he's fully committed to this Hollywood thing. But yeah, I think he'll be there. He'll boost ratings. It'll give people, and they should probably announce it as soon as possible. Not that a whole bunch of people aren't running over each other to get these tickets, because not many people have seen live wrestling in well over a year. So there's already money there. But I think he'd give especially because he was like the SmackDown guy. He's the poster child for SmackDown for how long to get that show over and to where it is now.
He's everybody's guy. There are two people in this world. Those that say they like John Cena and those that are lying about hating John Cena. That's just how it is. John Cena could run for president and he'd get the greatest amount of votes you've ever seen. Because we all like him. We all just might not want to admit it. It took me a long time to admit it. I wasn't always such a big Cena stan. You know, I thought some of those similar things. And now, granted, I came around by the end of his full-time run, so it's not like this is a new phase for me. But God, do I miss old John Cena. Because let's be honest, he can do the job part-time better than Roman Reigns could ever do it full-time. Said that, which is true. So we hope to see him back, but the Parade of Champions was stupid. I thought, just really, really stupid. I know who the champs are. Everybody else knows who the champs are. You know when this should have taken place? I don't know, the first show back with fans, because all you did was stick them back with more computer screens. We all know. We've been here. McCarthy, thoughts on the Parade of Stupidity?
Didn't care.
Yep.
I went and got a drink.
Yeah.
Got some food.
I did. I got in my stash, and I got some white cheddar popcorn, call me. And I was like, this sucks. This is a horrible way to kick off SmackDown. I don't know, kick it off with a wrestling match. Think of that. I'm crazy. Instead, we're going to get Sonya Deville, who might look great in suits, but she'll never be Ric Flair as far as style and profiling goes. And we're like, let's get a Parade of Champions, except no one needs a refresher. Who else is here? The same two people know. It's me and it's you. and a bunch of computer monitors. The same thing it's been since you got and created the Thunderdome. It's the same thing since Vince randomly stood there and all of a sudden Bray Wyatt, Scott Hall walked his way to the ring. Anybody notice how he walked sideways the whole damn time? I was like, hey, Razor. Anywho, why are we doing this now? I don't know. Do it back when we have the first live show on SmackDown on July 16th? Or would that make too much sense? It's complete waste because here's why I'm so upset. You might say, well, Logan, what's it really matter? Because the point is to entice viewers to stay when you kick off the show. You want a nice appetizer. Like, I don't know, the best part of Dynamite might have been Christian Cage versus Matt Sydal because that whet your palate for wrestling. This didn't whet anybody's palate. You know what it did? Made you go, I'm going to go get a drink. I'm going to change the channel. I'm going to go, I don't know, take a nap. It didn't do that. Come on. In the point, you go see a concert. The band plays. What's one of your favorite bands you've seen in concert?
Zach Brown Band.
Okay. Doesn't the Zach Brown Band, who I've never seen, but don't they start off with a song that isn't quite their biggest hit, but it's a well-known hit to get the people going, right? Start off hot. Start off hot. This was the equivalent of a cold shower if I wanted to watch wrestling. God. So it was stupid. It was stupid, and it wasn't on Raw even. It was on prime time. That's prime time Fox that you have for 2 hours, and you start off with that popcorn fart. All right, I've had more exciting runs to the bathroom after a night at White Castle. Cesaro challenged Roman Reigns to a Universal title match. I don't care. Look, I like Cesaro, but here's the problem. He's got no charisma. And then, the thing about it is, we can't even... Seth Rollins is the jealous ex-girlfriend, and so we can't even just enjoy the feud. No, Seth Rollins is still there hanging around like a venereal disease. Like, what? Why? Haven't we moved on? Why hasn't Seth moved on? Is Seth with the bloodline, the fam? Well, let's all put our fist in here. Mr. McCarthy. I have always been critical of Cesaro's lack of charisma. That's not the important point here. The important point here that I want to get your thoughts on, aren't you tired of Seth Rollins completely essentially being the moment killer, the guy in the background, the third wheel to this feud?
Yeah, a little bit. I would like to see it just be Cesaro and Roman for a minute, but oh well, it is what it is. It keeps it fresh, if you will. That way it's not Cesaro and Reigns over and over again. Now you got to worry about Rollins too, and is Rollins a friend of Reigns? Does he just want a title shot? I mean, they've done more egregious things. However, WrestleMania should have been the end of it, but it's fine.
I thought that was the point of WrestleMania. Only watched.
Even WrestleMania Backlash wasn't the end of it.
Apparently, it was WrestleMania. We're just getting started. That's what the tagline should have been. Because, good God. Can't we refresh a little bit, people? A little bit. A little bit. Just some. We got Drew McIntyre. He won't get out of the way on Raw. He literally is just standing there. And Seth Rollins, and I love Seth Rollins. I mean, look at the drip in those suits. They're big league. They should sell replicas on WWE Shop. I'd buy all of them. I'd be hitting up our president for like more stimulus money because I would need some replica Seth Rollins suits. So I'd be like, dear President Biden, have you seen this drip? No, not John Morrison, Seth Rollins. Okay. I just brought up the president, writing him a letter, so we'll get on that. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I haven't wrote him very many letters.
I guess I would have had better luck with the last guy. He's a WWE Hall of Famer.
True.
Ooh.
You probably would have.
Damn.
And the one before that actually was even on the show.
Yeah.
He showed up on a couple shows.
And I'm sure.
He's got connections, I'm sure.
And I guarantee you, W would have been like, "You're right. That is some serious drip."
Wasn't W on the show too?
He might. I don't. Well,
I
W's,
think he was. at one point.
W's like Johnny Cash. He's been everywhere. All right. So, Mr. McCarthy, you're not tired of it.
I mean, it could be worse. They could be doing nothing.
That's what I feel like I'm doing every week when I watch these shows.
You know, I did say that it should have been done with WrestleMania, but at least they're on TV where they should be, not sitting and catering.
Before we move on, Mr. Napper, what do you think of the Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso tag team match against the Street Profits coming up this Friday? How's this going to go down? Is this the start of the turn for whom? Because, again, I will point out to you that there's a certain non-PG shirt on WWEshop.com that has two different prints. One for Jimmy Uso, and the other for Jey Uso. I bought one. And so...
Did we wear that on the show?
I'm not wearing that here.
Oh.
Now, when we get out of the studio, I'll sport it every week for you. But I can't bring that in. It's the same reason I don't wear my Johnny Cash iconic photo. Let's call it that. If anyone knows anything about Johnny Cash, you know what photo I'm talking about. So
I don't think it's going to result in any turn. It's going to probably push the storyline a little bit further, but I don't think we get a turn until, honestly, Hell in a Cell. I really don't think it's going to happen.
I need you to say it with more bass.
I'm sorry. I don't see it happening until Hell in a Cell.
There it is. Listen to that. Oh, man.
I don't have much bass to my voice, but I try.
Did you not love that, McCarthy?
That was awesome.
Was that not some sultry sound you go to sleep to?
I wouldn't go that far.
Get some essential.
Oh, come on.
Get some essential oils and have a nice relaxing night.
I can record it again for you.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, I don't see this really going anywhere until Hell in a Cell. That was worse. I'm sorry, but we'll see.
That's all right. As long as you get yours, it's all good. Minister McCarthy, what do you think of this Uso tag team situation? Is this the start of a turn? Lay your predictions on me.
I think it is a start of Jay going back to be with Jimmy and getting away from Roman Reigns.
And being nobody's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
Except his brother.
that sounds good to me. Except his brother. Be friends with his brother, but... Because, yeah, he's gotten more exposure from being associated with Roman Reigns, but now his brother's got his back.
Okay.
You always go with true family. Not that
Roman
cousins
is
aren't true
also
family, but you know what I
legit
mean.
true family.
Brothers first.
Hate to tell you, but he's also true family.
They're all kind of blood related. Hence the,
Only slightly.
hence the bloodline.
Some would say they're in line with each other. Yeah. Just
Just throwing that out there.
Stevie.
I really don't think he should go with Jimmy. I think they should all be together because it'll be nice. It would be nice to see the Usos back together again, and they would be even if they were with Roman. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing a faction with the three of them and seeing how that looks. I know we've been kind of getting faction happy in the world of wrestling lately, especially in AEW.
We'll get there.
I was crying.
But I wouldn't mind seeing how that looks. And I know with Roman, it's kind of passe at this point because we've had the Shield a million times over, and this would probably, especially with 3 people, just essentially be the Shield light.
Well, let's be honest. The Shield's more entertaining than Jon Moxley.
I don't know about that. That promo was pretty entertaining.
Sure. It was.
Okay, we'll get to it.
I'm not disagreeing.
We'll get to it.
Yet.
Well, I don't know. I'll save the reservations until they actually do decide to make the turn of whatever I think is the better choice. But for now, like I said, I don't think it's going to happen until Hell in a Cell, but I wouldn't mind seeing them all be together and see what that looks like. Because I think with especially Jimmy in his promo skills, it could work.
Now, let me tell you the right choice.
Oh, jeez.
Let me tell you the right choice.
Do tell.
Buckle Brigade.
Love the name, by the way.
T-shirts.
T-shirts.
And don't worry, stay tuned. We'll be plugging our merch shortly. So, I want to get that queued up. So, I'll tell you the right choice. Jey Uso aligns with his brother and turns on Roman Reigns. Because who can take down family better than family? Because the reality is, all right, maybe John Cena's coming back for SummerSlam. We don't know. He doesn't know. Mountain Dew Melon doesn't know. None of us know. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he's got other Hollywood commitments. Maybe he's taking Chinese. I don't know. Whatever. If he's not coming back to get his 17th world title, at some point you got to freshen this thing up a little bit. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, on SummerSlam, we're coming up on a year. I'm not saying this isn't the best work of Roman Reigns' very lackluster career. It is. But it's a low bar as far as promo and personality goes. All right? Him and Cesaro were needing to go down to Walmart for a while. I'm not suggesting that. It is the best work of his career so far as first personality goes. But again, extremely low bar. Because when we talk about the Shield, we refer to Roman as the third man. And I don't mean like Hogan, brother. I mean like, well, let's talk about the other two because they really took off. And don't get me wrong, Roman's more charismatic than Kenny Omega. But he's a bigger star, too. That's facts. Look at the ratings. And so, let me tell you, Jey Uso should turn. Because, again, who can take down family better than family? Even if he started out believing that Roman Reigns was doing what's right for the family, maybe Jey Uso is starting to realize you say you're doing it for the family, but maybe you're doing it for you to be better than the rest of the family. Could be similar to if you watch Breaking Bad, right? And I know Vince has got a bunch of TV writers, and that's one of the hottest shows of the last decade, so hopefully they were tuned in on Netflix. Well, Walter White, say what you want, but he started doing bad things for a good reason if you watch the series. Have you seen the series? He started doing bad things for a good reason. And then he got lost in it. And like Richard Flair died off and became Rick, Walter White died off and became Heisenberg. Slowly but surely throughout that entire series. Maybe Roman Reigns last year at SummerSlam started out doing bad things to do the right thing in the long run. Represent the family, do The Rock proud, do Yoko proud, Umaga, the countless names go on, and of course the iconic Wild Samoans. But maybe over this last year, it's all gone to his head, and now he's lost in it, and he's doing a bad thing for now bad reasons. And maybe because Jey Uso's been there through most of this whole thing, you know, they had the thing at Hell in a Cell last October, so quite a bit, last 6 months or so. Maybe you can go, you started out, Oos, doing the right thing, doing the bad thing for the right reasons. But now you're lost in it. You think you're better than all of us. You're not doing it for the family. You're doing it because you want to be better than the family. What a story that would tell. And they're all a bunch of Hollywood writers, so it's right up modern day WWE alley, but I'll bet it doesn't happen. Why? Because it's a good idea. I'm full of those. I know. Don't you think it would be a good idea?
I would. I do.
Trepidation. Why? Why?
I don't know, because usually I've been conditioned to think that the ideal story is for him to join the family to only break up the family.
But the problem is, whatever big blow-off you want, again, the rumors are they want a big blow-off maybe with Cena, perhaps with The Rock, and perhaps with Lesnar. One doesn't want to cure the COVID. The other's, he's well-intended, but he got lost in Hollywood. And the other was well-intended and got lost in Hollywood. So damn it.
I do think.
What do we do?
I do think the situation you laid out would be a good storyline. The question is how to go about it, because I think at some point you were going to have Jay turn on Roman, and I think Hell in a Cell would be a perfect way to do that. Do we have Jimmy face him in a title shot?
No, you do it sooner than that. You do it that way. You can have Jey Uso versus Roman inside Hell in a Cell again.
I think you have him face off against Jimmy, and then he beats up on Jimmy, and Jey Uso makes the save on Jimmy.
Why don't they do a 2-on-1 handicap match inside Hell in a Cell? It can be done.
Yeah.
If you recall, and this is a different era certainly that I'm about to bring up, but DX faced the Big Show and Shane McMahon and Vince inside Hell in a Cell. That's of course where Vince got a great look at the derriere of Paul White. You recall that match, McCarthy?
Yes.
What do you think? 2-on-1 handicap match inside Hell in a Cell. What do you think, McCarthy?
I think it actually fits the story, because he didn't, Jay didn't quit in Hell in a Cell until Jimmy got endangered by Roman Reigns. It brings everything full circle.
Full circle. And he already beat a current Hall of Famer and a first ballot future one in a triple threat match, so it should be no problem for the head of the table. We should all be acknowledging him and his fantastic pectorials by the end of Hell in a Cell on Peacock. Peacock pectorials works. Yeah, I think that's what should happen, because the great players elevate the rest of the team. Ric Flair I know we all know Ric Flair now as old good time and Nate, but when he was the GOAT and just the best to ever do it, he was elevating other people even though he had 16 world titles. Think about the icon Sting, puts him on the map. We're all hoping and praying for Kenny Omega to help Impact Wrestling out. Because we all know he's capable of it. Hell, it was a Kenny Omega Chris Jericho match that is the genesis of AEW. The great players elevate the rest of the team. In traditional sports, you're a Steeler guy, right? Back in the day, it was Big Ben, and he elevated everybody else. Antonio Brown elevated every other receiver on that team. Juju Smith-Schuster, when he's got his head on right, is good enough to elevate everybody on that team. Joe Burrow Joe Burrow can elevate.
Oh, absolutely.
Tua can elevate. The great players, the great wrestlers can elevate. Why are we so critical of Hulk Hogan? I'm not. But it's because we all go, well, you're the biggest star probably ever, and you could have elevated more people. Instead, you chose to squash them. Could have elevated them. John Cena elevated Kevin Owens. He elevated AJ Styles. Not that AJ Styles needed it, but to the WWE fans.
Undertaker for that.
Undertaker sent Brock Lesnar on the run he is, I guess, kind of currently on, if you want to still say that. Remember, he was losing matches to Triple H and John Cena. Then he ends the streak, unfortunately, and then Suplex City is eventually born, and he suplexes John Cena right on the main event. The great players, the great wrestlers, the great whatever, they elevate. And so my point is, we already know how great Roman Reigns is. We've known that, frankly, for a long time. And now we've seen what a heel he can be with the help of Paul Heyman. And we've known his genius for a long time. Elevate Jimmy and Jey Uso, not to just be the Usos, the great tag team, but prove they can be main event players on their own, but also together, similar to what we're seeing with the New Day now. That's my point.
Yeah. I just think for me, it makes more of a story to have it be at the year anniversary of that match with Jey Uso that he turns. To have him super kick Roman in a surprise moment. It wouldn't be that big of a surprise because we could probably all see it coming. But I don't know, because they could tell such a story with it, highlighting what happened in that match a year ago. Letting that be the focal point and having, tug and pull at Jey Uso's heartstrings throughout the entirety of the match, only to have him turn, super kick Roman, and that's the end of the story. On a much bigger platform at a pay-per-view.
I hear you. Good point. Either way, it needs to happen soon by Hell in a Cell, right?
I do agree with that. I will agree with that.
Because would you agree that in some ways, it's getting a little stale?
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense what they're doing anymore.
Yeah,
like they're kind of clustering it up a little bit to the point that nobody really cares.
Because I feel like they're waiting on a big blow off to happen, and now we're going to get fans back. So, but Goldberg made clear, man, I really don't want to work if there's not fans. I don't get that adrenaline rush. Can't go out and perform quite as well. John Cena, maybe he'll be back in the fold for a little bit. The Rock, who knows? But the problem is if these guys don't either feel the need or want to make their time their schedule, I'm talking to you, Brock Lesnar, the show goes on, so we better do something just in case.
Do we think Edge comes back at all?
Yeah, I've already seen rumors that he's advertised for the July 16th SmackDown. But if Vince didn't want it one-on-one then, why would he want it one-on-one now? Edge is only getting older. I don't know. We'll see. Let's take just a quick break. Let's plug some merch. And then when we come back, McCarthy, it's Dynamite time.
Is it?
Look out, buddy. Look out, buddy, because here I come.
Oh hey there, Bruiser Nation. Raise those anchors and get ready to wear the official merch of Bruzernation Productions. Visit bruzernationproductions.kincustom.com and show the world your love of the Bruiser Nation as you go about your day in style. We have Bruise Cruise podcast and To the Turnbuckle tees, hoodies, jackets, shoes, bags, and even pillows. You heard that right. Pillows. That's bruzernationproductions.kincustom.com. Once again, bruzernationproductions.kincustom.com. And remember, Bruiser Nation, stay good, because I'm always good.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Turnbuckle. Brought to you by Bruzernation Productions right here on Heel Turn Wrestling on Facebook. And
and also on Score Air.
Yes, right here on Score Air Network. The fine folks. I don't not promote them out of I dislike Score on Air. It's that we get a little carried away sometimes.
They allow us to be on the page, but we kind of do our own thing. They do not represent a lot of our.
They don't necessarily endorse a lot of these views.
Yeah.
They just
A lot of our craziness.
They just go, look, you guys.
But they're lovely people.
They just go, look, you guys were here over a year. You got screwed with COVID. We're charity cases. Welcome to the charity case to the Turnbuckle. So give us a like, give us a share. We're going hungry, as you can tell.
Yes. Clearly.
Well, I'm going hungry. I'm hungry now. I had to siphon water into these Mountain Dew cans just for the sake of. Mr. McCarthy. Mr. McCarthy. Beautiful man.
So,
Looking sultry. Look at you. Nice little salt and pepper beard going. I like it. Let's talk AEW Dynamite. All right. First thing I want to talk about, Sting and Darby Allin. They attack Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. They're going to face they're all going to face over the tag match at Double or Nothing. So, and they advertise this is Sting's like return to the ring, right? Because those damn cinematic matches aren't quite the same thing, are they? They admitted it. You said the invoice out loud. That was the N-word part, Tony. They admitted it. It's not the same thing. It's not as physical. It's not as cool. It's not as fun. It's just not. Mr. McCarthy, what do you think of Sting and Darby Allin tagging up against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky? What are your thoughts on this segment?
I think the segment was pretty well done. A nice, good promo by both Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. I think Ethan should probably yell a little bit less, though. Like, he's got a microphone. He doesn't have to yell. He can give away that same hatred feeling without yelling, I'm pretty sure. And it's a good high-profile match for Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky. The face of the revolution, I might add, Scorpio Sky. And even Darby Allin, because, yeah, he's a huge name, but now he gets to say he actually had a tag team match with Sting.
Oh, you mean
Sting's still a big
before?
name.
He didn't do that before?
I mean, he had a cinematic match,
Oh, it's not
a
the same
professional
thing.
wrestling match.
Oh, it's not.
There's
it's
a
not nearly
difference.
He had like a bar fight backstage. You know, he had one of those. That wasn't a real match.
Yeah. So what you're saying? It gives credence to those that think this is all phony. That's what you're
I
saying.
didn't say that. I didn't
It's
say
the
that
reason
one bit.
that David Schultz slapped the hell out of that no good reporter. That's why. And I'm glad he got ruptured eardrums. I think it's fake. All right. I'm in a great mood today, McCarthy. Can you tell?
I can tell.
I'm feeling good. Feeling real good. And I'm completely sober. I don't drink a drop. I'm this crazy naturally. Be in trouble if I did drink.
We have microphones. We can yell if we want to.
Well, hey, him and Cedric Alexander must have exchanged promos.
I know, right?
Yeah, God. Tell you what, if he ever takes a microphone again, I might just stop watching Raw. Just awful. Just awful. I didn't.
Save it. Save it for later.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't mind the segment at all. Anything with Sting is a little bit more cool. I mean, he's Sting. He's an icon. He's a star. He's underappreciated by Travis Napper. Travis Napper.
You called him the biggest waste to AEW.
Wasted money, not because of him, but because what are we doing?
That's all I've ever said is, what are we doing?
Yeah, but you don't say it quite like I do.
I'm sorry?
Look, not everyone is as blessed to be as talented as I am behind a microphone. Being facetious. You're much more talented than I am. Your demo reel proves it. Seriously, go to his Twitter. What's your Twitter handle, buddy?
Wheels with a Z, 614.
Check out this man's demo reel. Give this man a job yesterday. His talent is incomparable. I have hands of clay compared to this man sitting right here. Legend. Go check him out.
Thank you, sir.
It's also on his Facebook page, but I don't know if you want your government name all out there. Yeah. But that's all right. You know.
I mean, it's already kind of up there.
Know that though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's my stage name.
Yeah, because like John Cena is John Cena Jr., but they don't know that. So,
to be honest, I forgot.
I'm a teacher at heart, folks, and a humanitarian. That's why God bless the ruptured eardrums of that reporter. I'm a humanitarian first. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Napper, thoughts on the segment?
I agree. I thought the segment was very good. I laughed, too, when they acknowledged that cinematic matches didn't really count.
It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
So listen at me, Mark Calloway. Time to get back in the ring.
Yeah, it didn't count. You didn't have a real retirement match. Yeah, phony.
I'll see you in Dallas, big man.
The only thing that
Go ahead.
I don't understand what we're doing with Sting still. I really don't.
They don't either.
Is he a manager of Darby? Is he a tag team partner of Darby? I had this argument with somebody on Facebook the other day. He's not a manager of Darby at this point to me. He's a tag team partner. Managers don't come and make the save every 9 out of 10 times.
They ought to go
A
for the
tag team
titles.
partner does.
They ought to go for the tag titles.
They should. Moxley and Kingston are. Why not Darby and Sting?
And it sure would be better than.
And they should redo them like they did with Jeff Hardy when he was champion.
I agree, and it would certainly be better than those two balding bucks. No doubt about it. The not so young anymore bucks.
I'm not the only one that notices that on a daily basis.
Fair.
I mean the Shawn Michaels receding hairline bucks. Mr. McCarthy, what say you, Sting and Darby for tag champs?
That was good.
Nah, I don't think they should be tag team champions. That's crazy.
Well, then
Why not?
Then why?
Because I'd rather
you
see
think Christian
John Moxley
Cage
and
should
Eddie
be world
Kingston
champion?
be
Why not a
tag
50-year-old
team
man as a
champions,
tag
thank
team
you.
title holder?
60.
60, yeah.
What? No,
What?
just kidding.
What?
I don't.
What?
What?
What? Why not a 60-year-old man as a tag champion? We had the Rock and Roll Express as tag team champions. Why not him?
You're never too old to rock and roll, brother.
I didn't. Look, I'm just saying.
Well, you're saying wrong things.
That's egregious. I never say wrong things. Misguided? Sure. Misinformed? Sure.
Doesn't
But
fit her
everything
narrative,
I
yes.
say is true to me, and that's what really matters. If it's true to me and I believe it, others will believe it too.
Is that your campaign speech?
You don't believe
Maybe.
in the icon Sting?
I didn't say I don't believe in the icon Sting.
It's what you heavily implied, sir.
I don't think so. Other than him, according to Scorpio Sky, he's a coward with a bat. I don't feel that way.
According to the
Throw
Scorpio
that out
Sky, he's the
there.
face of the revolution. Currently, I think he's the face of dark.
Wow, that's egregious. That's
And possibly
invaluable in ring time that he gets on Dark.
I'm just saying, where is he?
They got to start somewhere. Take those over first.
Gotta start
He even said
somewhere.
it. He said Rampage will be his show.
Maybe, yeah, I was
Just
going to
you
say,
watch.
maybe he'll be the face of the 1 hour Friday night program.
Hey, that's something. You got to start somewhere.
What a war it's going to be between Ring of Honor and AEW Rampage. And all the smattering thousands tune in. Look, I don't hate this segment. I do hate what they're doing with Sting because they have no direction. They had no obvious plan. How do I know that? Because it wasn't 2 months ago that Lance Archer was getting in Sting's face every chance he could. Now he was with Miro. Not that it wasn't a great segment. It was. But I just, like, he's Sting. AEW and WWE are having the same problems with him. They don't know what to do with him. We don't really know what to do with him, so we'll have him take another loss for WCW at WrestleMania 31. I guess we'll stick him with Seth Rollins, and unfortunately, that went the way it went. But I'm saying their idea was it elevates Rollins, but after that, who knows what the plan's going to be? And now the AEW, we'll stick him with Darby, but we don't know how long that's going to go. It's gone longer than it probably should have because he doesn't need a mouthpiece. I don't know. All right, next. The Inner Circle, they replied to the Pinnacle's challenge on AEW Dynamite. Of course, they will take them on in a Stadium Stampede match. And my goodness, was this and it wasn't like an awful promo. It was just an awful promo from Chris Jericho. Nothing about it made me believe and care and feel all the emotions he was trying to do. And I don't know if he had just had a session with Van Damme in the back, but his eyes were awful red. I just know he goes around giving out the rolling papers. It's true. Mr. Napper, because we got to make him wait.
Yeah.
Don't you think this was a lackluster promo?
Oh, yeah.
By Jericho standards.
I thought the ending was good. I thought he ended it on a good note. Anytime you tell someone you're going to pee on their grave, I mean, that probably invokes a feeling of rage from the opposing party. Maybe.
I was like, I didn't know they're going to have graves in the middle of Jacksonville's field.
Maybe they're going to bury him in Jacksonville. I don't know.
And Urban Meyer goes, what the hell is this? It's the first day of training camp.
Trevor Lawrence breaks his ankle running over the grave.
We're not wishing that on anybody.
No, we're not. I'm just saying that's potentially what could happen. See, I'm stumbling too.
It could be the reason that Tim Tebow might not make the team. We don't want that. He's running routes. You don't want him tripping over the Pinnacle. That's tough, man.
So many things to say to that, but I'll keep my mouth shut. Yes, you're very true. We don't want that to happen with Tim Tebow. Of course not, if he makes it that far.
He should make it that far. He's got the highest selling jersey on NFL Shop right now.
He does.
That will help him. That will help him.
Yes.
He'd have to be really awful to not make it now. Because they're like, look, that's making money.
Money! Money!
And we're coming out of a pandemic. Come on!
And clearly the cons love money.
Yeah, because they're conning TNT and Turner Media into it.
And Impact, too.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
No, but back to the original topic.
Yes. At hand.
I did think it was a pretty lackluster promo from Chris. I thought he did the better job out of the four of them. But that's not really saying much because aside from maybe Sammy, it really wasn't that. Yeah. It wasn't really that rah rallying speech. Like the promo before, like last week, much better.
Yeah.
And like the first time when they were building up the blood and guts, that was a good promo. Like I don't know if it's because we've seen this before that maybe it didn't. That's why it didn't hit well. But it just. Like, okay, you got your asses beat, but you're gonna dance on their heads, and then pee on their graves.
Well, because here's the problem.
With a broken arm.
Here's the problem with the promo. Here's the problem. Yes, he did dislocate his elbow, and that is a shame. And we wish Chris Jericho a quick and speedy full recovery. But this idea that his life flashed before his eyes, and oh my god, I almost hit the steel, and it could have been game over.
I almost hit the crash pad a little bit more to the left.
It's the same thing as the barbed wire, like the explosion. Instead of just going, well, we screwed that up, guys.
Let's try to make it work.
Let's make it work. I almost died landing on this big-ass airbag.
Actually, sir, it wasn't an airbag. It was set up by actual stuntmen with empty cardboard boxes with a tarp over it.
And that gives
so it was not a crash pad.
And that gives more credence to the people that say this is phony. So I'm glad that Chris Jericho has spent 30 years to just pillage the business. He should be so proud. He should be so proud.
I believe we had this discussion last week when I did retort that everybody uses crash pads now.
But not everybody sees it.
It's not that big of a deal.
But not everybody
It's better to be
sees it.
safe and not kill yourself
But
than,
not everybody sees
internet
it.
marks are going to freak out if they see something.
Wrestling
Who
is about the
cares?
suspension of disbelief. Every NFL team probably cheats, but Bill Belichick is making it obvious when he's got a guy on the sideline spotting on a 2-14 Bengals. Yes, you're right, McCarthy. Holier than thou, Tony Khan, they use crash pads. And yes, Shane McMahon has been using some crash pads, though I would argue there probably wasn't one in the Mania ring. And if there was, at least it didn't look obvious because wrestling is about the suspension of disbelief, something that a 30-year vet like Chris Jericho knows better than anybody in that locker room except maybe Arn Anderson and Tully.
And to your point, like, the issue isn't the fact that that happened.
Yeah.
The issue is the fact that, like you pointed out with
It went wrong, stop.
Yeah, they brought up they had the barbed wire incident. Where's the kaboom? But sorry, God, when you got a drink, yes. But the problem isn't so much, like you just said, it's not so much that it happened. We get it. It happens. Things happen. Things go wrong. It's stupid. We have a popcorn fart. It happens. Move on.
Yeah.
Like, you're not helping by drawing attention to it. You're kind of doing more damage to yourself, especially in this particular situation where you make it look like your life was in that much of danger.
Yeah,
I've seen
It
Shane...
was. I mean,
No, it
get serious.
wasn't. I've seen
You're
Shane
acting like
McMahon
Fallen
drop off a
15.
cage that was higher
doesn't-
than that.
All right, okay, hold on one second. As a guy that's been in a ring, a regular pile driver puts your life in danger. So let's get that right first, fellas.
Not
That's
if
a
they're doing it
15-foot
correctly.
drop. It wasn't safe when Mick Foley did it. It wasn't safe when Rikishi did it. It's not safe when Shane does it. And it wasn't safe when Jericho did it. But they did it as safe as possible. And it was Foley's idea. There's nothing wrong with that. And as you bring up, where's the kaboom? Again, to shoot holes in that theory of your problem with Chris Jericho's promo, Logan, it's always the end that matters, right? It's always the end that matters. And that was a killer line. If that applies to matches, it applies to promos. So I don't understand how you can say that was a god-awful promo by Chris Jericho.
In comparison to what he's capable of, it was. Look,
I've heard worse promos from Chris Jericho.
Hold on. Let me put it this way. When The Undertaker had a pyro issue at Elimination Chamber 2010, and he got lit on fire, like second and third degree burns, remember that?
Yeah.
And he had to scrap the entrance and everything. It wasn't a storyline the next night. He had to scrap his entrance, he was on fire, and he got in there and he doused himself with water. But other than that, that was it. That's my point, is yes, accidents do happen, and you are right, McCarthy. Safety is most important for not only Chris Jericho, but everybody, but especially an icon like Chris Jericho. We want him to end his career on his terms, not an unfortunate injury. You are correct. The point being is when, oh, we didn't shoot that right, or oh, the kaboom didn't go off, or oh, this didn't happen, or oh, there was a pyro incident during the greatest entrance in the history of this business, we don't go, let's make it a storyline.
Take the zombies, for example. They knew that was a popcorn fart. Did they bring it up ever since then? Nope.
Yeah, we're not even talking about, like, they mentioned it, like Adnan, and maybe that's why he just got the boot, mentioned it was a more traditional lumberjack match. That's been the end of it.
And yes, his life could have been in danger, but let's also not treat it like it's anything related to, like, what happens with Shane McMahon and Mick Foley. He fell on an elevated part of the stage.
But Mick Foley's the only one to not do that with a crash pad.
But he didn't really fall from that high of a...
Triple H and Undertaker, when they wrestled for the first time at WrestleMania, and they went off the high balcony of the camera, even they used a crash pad. They've been doing this for over a decade.
I'm
I
talking
don't
about the distance
understand
that he
why
fell.
it's such a big deal.
I don't
understand.
about the crash pad. I'm not talking about the crash pad. I'm talking about the fact that he really didn't even fall from that high of a level because the stage that he fell on was even higher than a normal distance from which they've fallen before. Shane McMahon...
Oh, he fell 13 feet instead of 15. Oh, my God.
And
such
there
a difference.
way more boxes and crash pads compared to usual.
And maybe there wasn't, but here's the problem. We could see those. It's not that. Again,
ultimately, it's just the fact that they keep acknowledging it.
Yes,
because
I would too if I dislocated my elbow doing it, and everybody's over here bitching and complaining.
But he dislocated his elbow. He's acting like he was gonna concuss himself.
And if it was that close, then maybe he shouldn't get in the ring at Stadium Stampede, because blood and guts should be the blow off anyway of any feud. Look, I get it. You're right. Safety is most important because, again, Chris Jericho is arguably the greatest of all time to ever do this, and he damn sure, like every other icon, deserves to go out on whatever his terms are. So, yes, I am glad that they were as safe as they could be. The problem is not the safety. They are tenfold better about being safety than WWE is. And I respect that, and I admire that.
Some days.
And I admire that, outside of some chair shots that have gone wrong. But overall, they try really, really hard. And I admire that. My problem is, you don't, when you have a bad note, maybe you acknowledge it like the next night. But again, at some point you kind of go, well, this didn't work, so let's kind of move it on. And yes, I know he's got the dislocated elbow. And sure, you can say, well, I got to cut a promo on it. No, you really don't, because we all know what happened. We all know. And so let's just move it along.
And he kind of alluded to it when they had the bubbly bath. He already alluded to his shoulder being dislocated. But then they tried to go even further.
And sell you.
Yeah, and sell you like he was in mortal danger. Like, yes, again, I get it. I get it, McCarthy. I get the safety issue. Like, yes, a lot of things could have gone horribly wrong in the situation. But they didn't. And it really didn't look from a perception, and believe me, we all got a very damn good look at what happened.
A little too good.
A little too good.
We were the peeping toms of wrestling fans.
He didn't look like he was in mortal danger or any danger that would scare his family.
Because you know what happened, McCarthy, and then I'll kick it to you for closing, and then we had to move on to the next thing. He falls, and then here, even worse, they get a look at Chris Jericho pretty much winking out of one eye going, how'd that go? Remember that, where he's kind of opening up his eyes, and yeah, we can sell. Well, I'm okay, but why is he kind of? Everybody buy that?
Actually, it was probably more, ow, my elbow hurts, and that was crazy. And how are you going to tell him how him and his family feel? Like, for real. If he felt like he was in mortal danger and it bothered his children and he feels the need to share it with the millions of Jerichoholics out there, who are you to judge him on that?
Because it's not believable.
Let's get serious for a minute.
You're allowing yourself to get worked and hit the worst promo of his illustrious career. I admire your fandom. I do.
Wow, the worst promo? He cut worse promos in WWE when he had control of his promos.
It is the
like, come on now.
It is the equivalent of if I was sitting here going, you remember when The Undertaker returned the night after the Royal Rumble building up to WrestleMania 28? And he came out with an obvious-ass wig because we all know he shaved his head. If I was sitting here trying to tell you because I'm as big Undertaker fan as you are Jericho, no, that was his real hair. Bullcrap. They grabbed that in the back. He had shaved his head. It was obvious from the word go as soon as he stepped his big ass on stage. But they tried to sell you and be like, well, Undertaker was driven so nuts by last year that he cut off all his hair. Or he did it because he doesn't give a damn and he decided to shave his head.
I don't think that's the same thing.
I'm saying in terms of you are allowing I don't know why you don't do this for WWE, because you're allowing AEW to insult your intelligence. Is that Kool-Aid you're sipping on? Because it sure feels like it. All right,
look, I'm defending Chris Jericho right now. Okay,
we have to move on. We've got other things to get to in the show. There's plenty of screamable moments about the worst edition of Dynamite this year. The Young Bucks defeated the Varsity Blondes in a tag team match. And yeah, it was good. It was okay until the end. Then the screwy got finished and all that. But there's been a lot of renewed interest, McCarthy, in Brian Pillman because of the Dark Side of the Ring season premiere, the 2 episodes. Why wouldn't the smart thing be why not do the occasional swerve? Why not the Varsity Blondes cash in on that and give them the titles for a small run? Small run. Or is it in the contract that everyone that actually works for the company holds the belts? You know, the ones that make the booking decisions. Sounds like Terry Bollea to me. Mr. McCarthy, what are your thoughts? Should the Young Bucks have, again, just for a short run, few weeks, maybe pull the swerve, let's put these guys over. We know you're the greatest tag team on the planet. Let's see what these guys can do. Give them the ball. Thoughts?
I don't think so. They're not ready. They haven't been wrestling that long. Why put unneeded pressure on them right now? They are a phenomenal tag team, but the titles bring pressure that they are not ready for. Any wrestler will tell you those belts matter, and pressure is put on you, and if they're not there yet, why give it to them? It's worked with Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. Instantly getting the belt. Nobody else. Why give them something they're not ready for?
Because, you know, the old coal diamond metaphor. Maybe it doesn't work. You can always scrap it back. Fine. But if they're not ready for it, then maybe don't have them be in the main event of your 2-hour primetime show. If they're not ready for it, then don't have them get in the ring with them. If they're not ready for it. No, maybe they're not ready for it. But we don't know that. Similar to what we see in WWE, where we say, why isn't this guy getting a shot to have a big-time feud, to have a big-time match? And they don't get it, and they never do. Cesaro may have been ready 7-8 years ago. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. We don't know because he was never given the chance. You very likely could be correct, but you cannot speak ultimate facts here because we don't know. And frankly, just for the sake of, and I believe this in WWE as well, sometimes make AEW Dynamite, make Monday Night Raw, make SmackDown must-see television. Do something where you're like, whoa, didn't see that coming. And if in 3 weeks we realize shouldn't have done that, you know what you do again? You make AEW Dynamite must-see television and you take the belts off of them. Because we should tune in to be must-see. That was what made Monday Night Raw great back when it started because you never knew. Don't be so predictable. That's all I'm saying. I hear you. They're young. But sometimes a guy is young, and you know what? Hey, you know what? It is what it is, and they have that happen. John Cena was a pretty young guy. He gets the ball, and he goes on the greatest run that's only comparable to like 3 other guys in this business. We can debate and we can argue it as far as who's greater, who's not, but he's on the Mount Rushmore of that company. He's the most likely one to break Ric Flair's record. That's all I'm saying is why not try it? Because if it doesn't work, then hell, get him off the belts at Double or Nothing. Just try something. Just try it. Napper, thoughts?
I think it was worth a shot because at this point, I'm kind of over the Young Bucks title run. Like, yeah, they're heels, and that's great. And I'm enjoying that, but I almost feel like their whole storyline with Kenny, with the Good Brothers, and everything else like that, it's kind of taken me out of their title run to the point where they're defending the titles, but it almost becomes pointless because you know they're going to win. You know they're going to retain them. And, yeah, that usually happens with certain heels that you kind of become accustomed to it. But at the same time, the Varsity Blondes have shown, like, to me, I think they're ready for it. And if they're not, who is? Because at this point, I know, I saw it too. I don't know who else you're going to give that rub to. You know, we threw out a couple names last week of who we think could potentially take the titles from them. At some point, it's got to seem like somebody's going to, though, because right now it doesn't seem like anybody is really kind of feuding with them. Maybe this could be the start of a really good feud for them, but I'm still kind of already taken out of it. Like, it doesn't seem like it's going to matter anything. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was too flippy, which is a shock with them. I like the addition of, I forget her name, but I know her last name's Hart.
Julia Hart.
Thank
Julia Hart.
I apologize to Julia Hart. But I think it's a good addition for her, with her involved. I think it'll be good for them to have a manager like that. But yeah, if it's not them, who is it?
I don't know. Give me the answer, McCarthy.
I think it's Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. Now,
Why?
Why? Because they're hilarious as hell together. They're like a more extreme rock and sock connection. Come on.
Don't
Like
we do this though?
Their
With
chemistry
WWE?
is amazing, and it keeps the feud with John Moxley and the Elite going without him going for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, so other people can wrestle for it.
But don't we do this with?
But the Varsity
WWE?
Blondes right now are the total package. But why rush it? We have seen this from AEW since their inception. They take their time with things. They have longer than what we're accustomed to title reigns. You act like this is new. You act like champions wrestling people closer to the bottom of the totem pole and always winning is new. Gee, who did that before? Oh, yeah, the great Ric Flair used to do that because he knows how the business works.
But it's not working.
It's not always about who wins and who takes the title. Sometimes it's about showing something. And the Varsity Blondes did show something on Wednesday. It doesn't mean they should automatically get the championships.
But again, who would? And I don't think it should be John Moxley and Eddie Kingston because we've been on this show countless times and have just chastised thrown together tag teams. Why not do the same thing here? We've had
Because they're not thrown together. They're
Yes,
old
they
friends
are.
that feuded.
they're two single stars.
the
They got
exact
put
same-
together.
You want to know the only difference between this storyline and the Rock and Sock Connection storyline?
What?
Eddie Kingston and John Moxley wrestled in the Independents together. That's the only difference. You look at that storyline, it's the same thing. The Rock and Mankind beat the living hell out of each other for years. And then they formed one of the most successful tag teams in history because of their history. It's not like random dude A and random dude B that have nothing to do with each other.
Except Eddie
Come
Kingston
together.
and Moxley beat each other up for like a month.
And they beat each other up for years before they made it big, sir.
But we never saw that. So it doesn't
I'm
make sense to the
sorry?
AEW crowd because that's stuff that we've never seen. So why use that when nobody has any, unless you're going to show it on on AEW television, why have that be the catalyst for this when we've never experienced them having that relationship?
Because it was the catalyst for the whole feud. They explained their entire history when Eddie Kingston got a shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. This is all talked about. Just because we didn't see the matches, we know their history. We know how close they were. John Moxley was close with Eddie Kingston's mom. There is history built here.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. McCarthy. Let me ask you. I was doing some research on another topic. I was listening to you all, and you're fine, and you both make good points, frankly. But let me ask you, sir, doesn't there need to be more diversity in the champions of this company? Because we talk all the time about how AEW is not making enough of their kind of own stars, and John Moxley getting those tag belts. And we'll make our predictions here as we close the show in a bit. John Moxley getting those belts. All right, he's Frank. Because I mean, when people think of John Moxley overall, we think of him as a WWE guy. He's still not quite an AEW guy yet, right? And so, but nonetheless, he's had the world title, hadn't had the TNT championship, but then he gets the tag titles. Like, we need, I think, more organically stars like Darby Allin. Darby Allin's one. Darby Allin was one, but he's about the exception. Cody Rhodes, star of the places. Kenny Omega, huge name in Japan. Chris Jericho's an icon. Frankly, Miro, Rusev. only Darby Allin so far is the only AEW guy that has gotten the ball in any way. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Don't you think so?
I mean, is it a problem? Because I remember Chris Jericho coming to the WWE and not getting anything for 2 years. They've barely been a company over 2 years. Not everyone has been on that roster for 2 years. And let's be honest, who has not been in the WWE? There is a very small portion of contracted wrestlers that have not spent time in that company. Maxwell Jacob Friedman was there. Kenny was there. Everyone's been there.
But we don't associate those. We don't associate those guys with them. They weren't there long enough to matter. That only diehards like us is going to know that. What about Hangman Page?
So why is it a point? Why does it matter? Everyone's been there. We should be educating the masses instead of telling them, oh, this guy's a WWE guy, AEW screwing up. No, everyone's been there. This is a conversation that shouldn't even be had because everyone's been there. Everyone has worked for Vince, with the exception of a bunch of people in Japan. Everyone in the States has worked for Vince McMahon.
Look,
or they're on the independents and haven't made it yet. But everyone that is TV ready has worked there. Even Tay Conti worked there.
But do they work there enough to really be associated with them? Ric Flair worked in TNA, but it's about the last thing we talk about with his career. It's about the last. Just because you work there, did you become a star there? Did you do enough there that run matters? And for some of those guys like MJF, like Kenny Omega, the answer is unequivocally no. That's why I said Kenny Omega, big star in Japan, because he hadn't drawn flies over here. So, my point is, sir,
one of the most successful buys of a pay-per-view ever. Oh, wait, yeah, he did. Didn't people turn out in droves every time they could when him and Jon Moxley beat the crap out of each other? Oh, yeah, they did. So what do you mean he can't draw? I'm confused. Didn't him and Chris Jericho sell out Japan? Oh, wait, yeah, he did.
You just kind of made his point for him. You know that, right?
Well, thank you for you were going good.
You were doing so well. And then you brought up Japan.
Not everyone in Japan went to that show for Chris Jericho. Kenny Omega sold that just as much for the people in Japan. He is a hero in Japan.
I've got names for you. It's not that, they've been in WWE, so that means they can't be a star in AEW. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, what about names like Adam Hangman Page, who got to nearly, pardon the pun, the pinnacle, and didn't win the world title and hasn't had a sniff since. Hasn't done anything except that weird-ass Money Feud with Matt Hardy since. What about John Silver? What about Meat Man John Silver, who we all saw on this show as a star?
He's hurt.
Colt Cabana, what is he, a mascot? Where is he?
Maybe.
Where is he? There's three guys that are just as talented, frankly, in the ring as Jon Moxley. And I love Jon Moxley. He was my favorite member of the Shield, no doubt. And he's one of my favorite things about AEW. But this idea, they've all worked for WWE, sure. Yes, but again, Ric Flair worked for TNA, but it takes us a while to get there in that chapter of his long-ass book.
Jurassic Express,
Luchasaurus, who you compared to The Undertaker. Suddenly you must have sold all your T-shirts or Luchasaurus stock because you haven't mentioned him. I don't know, Lance Archer, who really wasn't that big of a star in WWE. When we think Lance Archer, we don't go, damn, he was a real star for Vince, pal. Matt Sydal, who, yes, might have been a somewhat star for WWE back when they were just going PG in 2008. Ryan Nemeth has got plenty of talent. If anything, he oversells, just like his brother and his brother's idol, Shawn Michaels. There's plenty of talent. There's tons. Private Party. Tons of talent.
The Acclaimed.
Tons of talent. So, no, yes, they've all worked for WWE, great. We've all had our cup of coffee in the big time. That's fine. That's not my point. My point is every champion in this company except Darby Allin has been somebody that not only worked for WWE, but can make an argument was made a star by WWE. That's the problem.
Wait,
It's
wait,
the same problem we
Are
had
the
in
tag team? Did the
Stanford.
tag team champions? Did they become stars in working under Vince?
Say that
Is
again,
that what
say it
happened
again.
right now? Is that what happened?
What?
Did
Say
the
it again
tag
one
team
more time.
champions, the AEW tag team champions,
The
did
Young
they
Bucks.
become a star under
Oh,
Vince
you
McMahon?
mean the guys? Oh, you mean the guys that work for the company and have creative control and pass it off in a damn group text? Maybe if they said some racist remarks, you would compare them to Terry Bollea, but it's real damn similar. World champion works there. Hell, acknowledge that on TV with Orange Cassidy Wednesday. Tag champs work there. Miro banged Lana, was having a wedding, and then they stuck him in another wedding angle because they're geniuses. Darby Allin is it. They're the one exception. He's the one runt of this particular litter. The facts spell it out. Chris Jericho, Icon, Smoky Mountain, ECW, WCW, WWE, and guess what? When he retires, we'll finally get to AEW. It's his side piece. It's his side piece. Tell me how they've done for Hangman Page.
So, of course, AEW will be last when you go on a list of Chris Jericho because you went in a list in chronological order.
No!
That fits your narrative. You started with Smoky Mountain Wrestling all the way to saying AEW would be last. Well, of course, in chronological order, that is going to be last.
No, here's how it's going to go. In real life, when we talk about Chris Jericho, we'll talk about his days in WWE, then AEW, then WCW. There's the company I said first. Do you disagree?
Nope.
He worked there for 20 years. Of course, you're going to say WWE first.
Tell me one star they've helped create besides Darby Allin. One.
Jungle Boy.
And where is he?
He just wrestled last week. Or the week before. They have a big roster.
They did well. I forgot.
Oh, you forgot. Yeah, they're really...
I must have.
They're kicking ass. If you're forgetting, if you, the ultimate stan of AEW, who I'm convinced is working their social media.
All right, we should move on.
Miro, speaking of Miro, sending a message on AEW Dynamite. This was the best segment of the show. This was good. Here's the problem. This proved that Jake Roberts is not needed. So I got something for you, folks. Here, I've been giving great ideas all day long, right? Double or nothing. You know what should happen?
Jake Roberts on a pole.
Sure. Jake Roberts should turn on Lance Archer because Lance Archer just proved for a fact he doesn't need him. And he should align with Miro, who still struggles with English a little bit.
Shark cage match.
He should turn on Lance Archer,
Okay.
cost him, and then Jake can go, guess what, Lance? I taught you everything I knew, and you couldn't do what he did and win the title. Because we just proved unequivocally that at this stage, Lance Archer is probably a better cutter than Jake Roberts in his current raspy form. Yeah. We did not prove that Miro is. Miro cut a very good promo, but given his choppy English, because of he's the Bulgarian female dog, I think that's what should happen here. What do you think of this segment? What do you think of my idea, McCarthy?
No, I think that segment was perfect, and I think that's a great idea. It really, because Lance Archer can talk just fine. And it's a way for Archer to maintain heat, if you will, by losing to Miro by getting screwed by Jake Roberts. That way, Miro continues his run, Archer saves face in a loss, and Jake the Snake Roberts has someone else to kind of get behind and help grow in the promo aspect.
As well. Because you never trust a snake. That's what we have found out. And he is that. What do you think of that idea, sir?
No, I think it's a very good idea.
What do you think of the segment?
I thought the segment was great. I agree with you. I thought this was probably the best part of Dynamite because I was impressed by Miro. I really was. I thought he delivered, like you said, it was a very good promo.
Yeah.
Probably one of his best ones he's ever cut.
I think so.
And that's including his debut. So I thought it was a good. I can't wait. I'm excited for the match. When and if this takes place.
Yep, Sunday. It's gonna kick some ass.
So that they did their job, especially there, because I'm excited for the match. And I agree with you. I think this definitely proves that, unfortunately, Jake Roberts really isn't needed with Lance Archer. And I think we kind of started to see that even before this, whenever he was starting to cut his own promos against Sting and starting to I think they are building to that at some point, because I think Miro wouldn't have brought it up if it wasn't something they were playing around with. You don't bring up Jake Roberts holding him back if it's not something you're probably toying with, that you
At
want
least some creatively.
right, that you want it to be the perception that he's holding him back, that he's trying to stop him. Credit to Miro for on the fly stuff that he said. I thought it was very well done, very exciting.
This is something that, and here's deep praise. This is something that I hope somebody shows Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard and goes, take notes. Look at this. Look, here's what he can do. And not to say he didn't have a good run in WWE. Rusev Day got hot. It did. And he had big matches with John Cena and things like that. He had a good run. But this right here proved you dropped the ball in the grand scheme. Could have been world champ. Could have been world champ. Somebody needs to show this to Vince and Bruce and go, number one, see what you messed up here. You did. Number two, here's what a lot of these guys in the back are capable of, and you don't trust them. And they could probably even do it in PG manner. Just give them the time to adjust that. Plus, we're throwing around the B word now every fifth word, so how PG are we? And so I loved this segment, and again, it proved that Jake Roberts is unfortunately not needed. However, my concern is Jake Roberts may need AEW for his mental and sobrietal and
Yeah, they can't get rid of him. They can't.
Now, if he does something that is warranted to be fired, that's different. But he hasn't done that to our knowledge, and he needs to be in the game, and he deserves to be in the game because he's fought, like he said in his debut promo, he's fought for 20 years to get right, to get clean, and so he deserves to be a part of this game one more time.
That yoga line was
Yep.
perfect.
I went, whoa!
We're going there. All right.
I felt bad for Jake at that point.
Yeah.
I was
Notice they didn't cut to him immediately just to see what he would do, because
I was like Miro. Hey, he might start thinking you're shooting, brother, and that's somebody you don't want to shoot with. But he needs to be involved and a part of the game and on TV and still be Jake Roberts. So I know that's not really how business should work, but for his mental health, I think it should be that way. And so I really hope that they have a plan either to make it a Paul Heyman-esque thing where we all know that Brock Lesnar really didn't need Paul Heyman to hold him back, but still, and frankly, the limited times we've seen him on the mic in 2012 to 2020, it was better than we all ever hype it up to be outside of that one horrible promo of John Laurinaitis that went far too long.
I'll throw this question out to both of you. If it's not Lance Archer and it's not Miro, is there anybody else on the roster you think they could pair with him? Not only that it fits well because of what he represents as a character, but would benefit the person that they align him with. Because I'm trying to think off the top of my head who they could put him with. Because I agree with you. I think he needs it for his own mental stability.
Yeah.
Who could they put him with if it's not Miro?
If it's not Miro and it's not Lance Archer, the first guy that comes to mind for me is a Brian Cage or a Hobbs, big guy that we don't know really what they got in terms of promo, and Jake Roberts can sell you on the fact of looky here, he's a hoss, just absolute star. What about you, McCarthy?
I'd turn Luchasaurus heel. That's who I'd put him
Dinosaur and a
with.
snake.
Shut up and take my money.
I knew evolution was fake. Dinosaur and a snake. Looky there. Man, that would be big league in it. What about, what the hell is his name? Got the long black hair, the hairy chest. You know what I'm talking about? He was on a few weeks ago. He might, hold on, I might have the list.
Camarado?
Say it again?
Is it Camarado?
Yeah.
The guy that's in the factory?
Nick Camarado. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Nick Camarado.
Why not? Why not him?
That'd be a good one.
Yeah,
He's
I
a big
think
son of a
that
bitch.
would
We don't
fit.
know anything about him, and Jake Roberts can tell you. I think that would work. Again, I just
think it would be more of a shock factor if you put Luchasaurus in, though.
I agree. That's easily the best pick.
That'd be
We've already
great.
seen Luchasaurus and Lance Archer, I think, already have matches together. Put them together again. Woo!
Money.
Woo-hoo.
All right, Serena Deeb defeated Red Velvet. I'm not a big fan of the whole Red Velvet thing. It's kind of stupid. She's got plenty of athletic talent. She's pretty. But baking a cake all the damn time is. Mr. McCarthy, thoughts?
Look. She couldn't think of a name. She mentioned how talked about her mom's amazing red velvet cake, and one of her friends said that should be your name, and she went with it. So let's
person's
admire her for going with something and sticking with it, hoping it would work like when Stone Cold's wife said that tea's going to get stone cold. Sometimes it works. I don't mind the name so much, but it's a callback to her childhood. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. Kane's mom said she always wanted to have a dentist, so Isaac Yankum.
He cut his teeth with that gimmick.
Yeah, and he cut audiences and ratings.
He should have took his own dental advice.
What'd you think of this match, Mr. McCarthy?
I didn't
I
like
thought it was a good match.
Oh, you asked him. That's right. Sorry.
Serena Deeb is still showing why she's so important to the business right now. She's something you don't see a lot of, a super technical woman.
And Billy Corgan is showing Scott D'Amore how to negotiate. Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't go to those meetings.
Mr. Napper, now's your time.
Okay.
What'd you think of this match?
I didn't like it.
Didn't like it what?
I didn't like it.
Didn't like it what?
I thought the beginning was a little bit too rushed. I felt like the first 5 minutes of this match I thought were sloppy. I think they were trying to get too much of their stuff in, and it didn't really resonate with me. I feel like they were trying to go a little bit too quick, and honestly, in wrestling, that can be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to be a little bit too entertaining off the bat, and I thought it got better. Still, I thought the overall match was just a little too sloppy for me. Red Velvet, I agree with you. I'm not too keen. I get where she gets the whole name from. I'm not that. That doesn't really matter to me. But you can still see she's a little bit kind of green, still kind of getting her legs underneath her.
We say that about too much about this roster.
Unfortunately, they've only, like McCarthy pointed out a couple of segments ago, they are still only 2 years old. So I feel like we're still going to have to say that for a little while longer, but I feel like they kind of did a disservice to make this a championship match, because I don't think it lived up to a championship match, because like I said, I think they went a little bit too fast. I think they were trying too hard to do too much in a short amount of time. And unfortunately, until the last probably 3 minutes, it didn't really resonate. Serena Deeb, I think, carried the match, and especially fixed the match towards the end of it when they started to just make it kind of a ground and pound, physical, technical match. When they weren't trying to be, quick, athletic, and just making all the crazy moves, I thought this match was better. But when they were trying to go fast and be athletic in the very beginning, I thought it kind of made it a little bit too hard to follow.
Mr. McCarthy, rebuttal to that?
I think you are absolutely egregious. Did they kind of go a little too fast? Maybe. But, giving somebody a title shot
but he agrees
is
with
to see what they can do, see where they're at, where they need to work, so you can see how good they are against the top of the mountain.
Isn't that what Dark
That's
is
why
for?
you don't just randomly say, okay, this person's going to win a title. No, you see what they can do in that situation first, and then you make that decision.
And elevation.
with a 2-year-old company where half the roster had never been on TV before. It's like we give NXT guys that are new to TV some slack, but we don't give any of the nice, young, up-and-coming AEW stars that are still learning how to wrestle on TV. Oh, you work for AEW, we're going to hammer you.
Well,
But you work for NXT, it's fine, you're getting used to it. You're still learning.
I gave them a lot of slack when they were on the network. Now you're on USA. I don't give them a lot of slack.
and to be fair, they don't usually put anybody anymore that is developmental on the show anymore.
Yeah.
They save a lot of that for whatever, they do in the background. They haven't been putting anybody that's not had at least a couple matches on NXT on the show anymore. They used to do that all the time when they were on the network. They don't do it anymore. That's the difference.
The developmental shows for WWE these days are Main Event and 205 Live.
Yeah.
Because that's where Mansoor has been before he just randomly got put to Raw. He's been on 205 Live a ton. And
so that's why I said, isn't that what Dark and Elevation are for? Because that's where they're supposed to learn to fix those mistakes. And again, I thought they did a better job in the second half of that match, and I thought Serena Deeb slowed that match down and they were able to bounce back from it. But it's still, to me, for the whole entire match, I don't think they did enough for me, at least me personally, to say that that was a good match. I think it was an okay match, but to me, it wasn't a good match, especially for a match that you were going to make a championship match for a title that isn't even yours.
yeah. We got to move on. We're running short on time because we've screamed a lot. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston defeated the Acclaimed. Thought it was a good match overall, but it was a little all over the place, like most Moxley matches. It was here, it was there, it was here, it was there. It was okay, but I didn't think it lived up to the hype that all four of these men can do. I think all four of these men can do far better with each other. Do you agree?
I do agree.
How about you, Mr. McCarthy?
Oh, they could have a way better match if they developed a little bit more chemistry and wrestled a couple of times.
Could try that on Dark and Elevation.
That being said, props to Jon Moxley.
Let's try that on Dark and Elevation, but damn it, make stars. But put everybody on Dark and Elevation that's never been on TV, but damn it. Where is everybody's push? Make everybody a star right now, but make sure they're on Dark and Elevation. Talk it out at both sides of your face, sir. Make up your mind. Do you want the people that aren't ready on Dark and Elevation, or do you want them to try to make stars on Dynamite?
We didn't say this was a bad match, though.
Yeah.
Just that they could do better.
They could develop a little more chemistry. I didn't, I would.
No, you said that belongs on Darker Elevation. Learning chemistry together belongs on Dark and Elevation. But oh my gosh, there's not enough new stars that still need to develop. Better make them stars.
And it would
better do it on Dark and Elevation. They're not ready for TV. They gotta practice. So keep them on Dark and Elevation.
Like. Hold on. Stop. Go ahead.
The smattering thousands deserve to have a nice Jon Moxley Eddie Kingston match with the Acclaimed. Stars. You're taking your time and still taking time out of your day and watching this product on YouTube.
And they could technically have it on both. They could have it on Dark and they could have it on Dynamite.
Yeah, fun fact, Jinder Mahal was on Main Event the week before he returned to Raw.
They can do it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Modern day Maharaja.
I was just going to say props to Jon Moxley for taking that Oral Sessions joke on the chin.
Great phrasing. Oral Sessions joke on the chin. Fantastic. Fantastic. God help me, I love this show.
Me too. I didn't even plan it that way.
We're running short. Koroshi defeated Rebel. We'll get to them in the predictions. Christian Cage defeated Matt Sydal. I thought this was a great match, and I thought it really kicked off Dynamite. And like I said, really whet your palate for a night of professional wrestling. Shame that AEW
got some nostalgia with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2008, bro. I could see the WWHD little logo up there at the corner. And so really, really enjoy. Any thoughts on Christian Cage, Matt Sydal before we move on to some high spots on the NXT, McCarthy?
No, that was a really good way to kick off Dynamite. It was a nice back and forth of two, totally different styles, because Christian has always been more of a technician than an aerial wrestler. Edge always took most of those chances, and he didn't even take that many. They were just made famous, from the TLCs, but they're not, neither one, Christian or Edge, have ever really been known as high flyers. They just know how to make the best of stipulations, but it was a good, nice clash of wrestling styles.
I agree. I really, really enjoyed it. Any thoughts you want to share before we move on?
No, I agree with both of you.
All right. Let's hit some high spots on NXT. Bronson Reed defeated Johnny Gargano in the steel cage match to win the NXT North American Championship. Napper, thoughts?
Loved it. Finally, I think Bronson Reed has been a star in the making, and I think it's finally time they gave him the push they did deserve.
Mr. Matt Daddy McCarthy, thoughts on the resident thick boy, North American champion?
Oh, I thought this match was great, and it gives new direction for not only Bronson Reed, but Johnny Gargano. It's time for him to go out, maybe try and get back in the NXT title picture instead of lifting up the North American Championship, see what Bronson Reed can do with it, and have Johnny Gargano go up to the top of the card.
I have two words for Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, and the rest of the Undisputed Era, too. Two words. Main roster. Give Vince a chance. Hashtag it.
Well, they should be doing what we've said probably all along they should do. They should take some of the people that they're not using on SmackDown and they're not using on Raw and swap them out.
Yeah. Hashtag give Vince a chance, Undisputed Era, Tommaso Ciampa, and rest all of you. Give Vince a chance. Hashtag. Yeah, I really enjoyed this steel cage match. This could have headlined a takeover. This was damn good in every sense of the word. Might have been the match of the week. As far as we'll see how we'll see, but I think so. It was damn good. Enjoyed all of it. Johnny Gargano knows the way, but unfortunately, Bronson Reed got in the way. And yeah, I'm going to be interested to see where the Garganos and Austin Theory go from here. It does create a lot of developments. Plus, Bronson Reed as champion, a lot of big time matches can come out of that. A lot of big time good matches. I'll tell you, I've got my eyes on a few. I've got my eyes on a few. You know what I'd like to see? This new version of Bobby Fish versus Bronson Reed.
Yes. I just want to see the new version of Bobby Fish.
Well, you'll see him tonight on NXT. Of course, we will be leaving the studio here, but by God, DVRs are set and just salivating. My DVR's ready to electrocute with as much wrestling as I got to record. Jake Atlas defeated Cameron Grimes thanks to Ted DiBiase's distraction. Of course, Ted DiBiase tonight, they're going to have some sort of $1 million face-off. I love Ted DiBiase. So glad he's back. But damn it, it had better pay off in the elevation of Cameron Grimes. Or else...
What are we doing this for?
Yeah. Because this does not feel like they're going to lead this face-off, this summit, this $1 million whatever. Doesn't feel like it's leading to him managing him. We'll see what happens.
That's the swerve. I don't know.
Thoughts on
no,
it?
not Isaiah Swerve.
That's a hit row. So, Mr. Napper, thoughts?
I agree with you, actually, that I'm not getting manager vibes. I'm not
Getting concerned.
Yeah, a little bit. Unless it does involve him managing somebody else that goes up against Grimes, I think that could result in some good things.
Ted Jr.
Oh, yeah. If it was that'd be top of the line. And eventually it could result in all three of them kind of forming, like you pointed out, forming a little faction. I know we're getting tired of that.
Little Money Inc., baby.
Little Money Inc. Part 2. But yeah, I hope it leads somewhere good. I think Cameron Grimes deserves it. Got to give them credit for at least Ted DiBiase for at least doing it because it gives him the rub no matter what. But the payoff, if not done right, it could hurt him.
Yeah, this was the first week of this series that I went, what are we doing here? Because now you just cost him a W. And wins matter. It's one thing AEW understands better than WWE. Mr. McCarthy, thoughts on where this is all heading? What do you think this summit's going to be tonight between Cameron Grimes and the $1 Million Man?
And I really hope it leads, like you guys said, to something. Because what's the point if the $1 Million Man's not at least going to either be a manager or bring back Ted DiBiase Jr. or do something?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned after last week, but I'm holding out hope because, again, like Journey, we don't stop believing. All right. Any other thoughts that you two want to touch on NXT as a whole before we move on? Anything else? Mr. MacDaddy, thoughts?
Nope, I got nothing.
All right. We want to remind you that you're watching To the Turnbuckle right here on Heel Turn Wrestling. Check out all the other great programs. Subscribe. Smash that like button. Go ahead. Get those little bell notifications. That way, anytime any of us go live, you get it. Especially always a shout out to Big Stevie C who got us hooked up with Heel Turn Wrestling. Watch Heel and Face podcast every Sunday around 2 p.m. is when he drops that sucker. He went in depth on the Velveteen Dream situation this week. And again, he's morally much better than I am, so I can promise you he gave you more straight talk. So be sure to check that out. Check out Billy Alexander Takes 5. You got to the franchise himself. Be sure to check it all out. But again, the simplest way to check out all the shows here on Heel Turn Wrestling, just hit that like button. Go ahead and get those notifications. Follow. Might want to put it in your see first pile on your feed.
I actually will ask one question.
Go ahead.
Did the match with Hit Row at all invest you more in them as a faction?
Hate to say it now.
McCarthy?
No, not yet. I still want to give it time.
I'll give it time, but I'm going to call it no for one. I'm going to call it a swing and a miss this one.
Only thing it did for me, make me not believe in Isaiah Swerve Scott as the leader of that faction at all. Because I think the other two that were in the match, Top Dollar and was it Ashanti, I don't remember what his name is. But the only thing it did for me is let me know that they're really talented and he's kind of just there.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to
Don't
believe he's
besmirch
going
the
for
Swerve Meister, sir.
And I'm supposed to
He'll
believe
get
he's
there,
going for
okay?
the North American title? Okay.
What?
I got an idea for the show. It just came to me. We'll talk after.
Okay.
Just came to me. Yep. Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about it real quick. Drew McIntyre versus Kofi Kingston. It ends in a no contest so we can get the same damn thing next week. Woo-hoo! Look, as much as I like Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre, why wouldn't we just do it there?
Because ratings, baby!
You know what?
I'm sorry. Baby!
Because you know what would be nice? If we had that payoff last night as advertised, and then we spend, I don't know, the other 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, whatever, I don't know, building the believability that whoever wins can beat Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell. Crazy thought. Mr. McCarthy, thoughts?
I thought the match was really good until we got the no contest, and now we get to have it again next Monday. Like, hooray! Like, they had a great match. But I kind of think that they should just go with Kofi and Lashley right now. We need a breather from Drew and Lashley. They've been feuding for
Eons.
I mean, off and on for over a year. Let Kofi come in, give us a little break in the buffet, if you will, and then they can meet again at, say, SummerSlam or something.
Baby.
Because Kofi always does amazing with dudes that are that much bigger than him.
I just agree with him, baby. It's so good.
He's speaking truth, baby. It's
so good.
It's gospel. It's gospel. He talking gospel. I agree. Yes, Kofi Kingston said what we were all thinking. I love Drew, but come on, take it back to do something else. Like, there's other titles on this brand.
Chance after chance after chance after chance.
Go
Go fight your buddy Sheamus. He's got the U.S. title. It's shiny and pretty.
I'm like, there's tag titles, there's U.S. titles, there's plenty of gold to go collect. We're just, hell, go fight R-Truth. I ain't seen him in a few weeks. And I love Drew. Like you guys know how high I am on him, because especially after the Stone Cold podcast where he's like, I'm not looking to go to Hollywood. I want to wrestle into my 50s. That is the equivalent of me. I mean, that is just give me more. I mean, you know the hot dog wieners in the face gif? That's me when I hear those kind of things. Hot dogs, people. I didn't say anything offensive. Hot dogs. I will send you the gif in the To the Turnbuckle chat.
Please
so
don't.
you all don't think I'm crazy.
Please don't.
I'm going to.
Oh, damn.
I'm going to.
Damn it.
I'm going to. I'll kick you out, too. And all right. Natalia and Tamina defeated Shayna Baszler and Iron Jax.
Why?
But thoughts on this being the main event of Raw? I was stunned it was the main event of Raw.
I was very stunned it was the main event of Raw. I mean, it's great that it was the main event of Raw, but okay.
Yeah.
Yay! Can we please break these two up now, please, for the love of God and all things that are holy and all things that matter to Shayna Baszler?
I think we're getting there.
I know we are, but it's
I think we're getting there starting next week, because, you know...
Shayna was mad.
Yeah, the Sully Man and Iron Jax, they got a thing going on, pal. Got a thing going on. How much you want to bet that Vince was like, well, you know, they say big girls need love, too.
I'm sure he put it in exactly those words.
I want to hear him say it.
Maybe the little puppet will say it.
Yes, when Bray gets back from wherever he may be, yes, damn it. McCarthy, thoughts on this main event of Raw? Nia Jax and Shayna take the loss. Shayna's going to take on Reginald next week in an intergender match. God, we're so cool. What are your thoughts?
So I thought the match was pretty good. I please split them up now. I agree with you. Like, this is ridiculous at this point. Like, if you know anything about Shayna Baszler, it's that it doesn't take some dude taking Nia Jax's attention away from the matches to make Shayna Baszler want to not be her partner anymore. Yep. Shayna Baszler doesn't like anyone to begin with. Her and Nia have a very long history together. All it takes is them legitimately losing, because heaven forbid we do that. Just have, Natalia and take the titles from them without Reginald's distraction. And they can split up from there, because Shayna Baszler, a former MMA fighter, is a competitor. All she needs is, we lost the titles because of you. And the story writes itself. Instead of, let's light Reginald on fire and get beat up by
okay
Shayna.
with that.
I assume that was Alexa Bliss, something related to her. Shayna Baszler.
I would assume.
I'm actually okay with that at this point.
Speaking of, very quickly, anyone think that Nikki Cross could be aligning with Alexa Bliss?
God, I hope so.
Why was she back on TV all of a sudden?
I hope so.
It would make some sense.
Please.
Because her problem was not technically Alexa joining the dark side. It was you're being controlled by him.
Yeah.
Well, she ain't being controlled by him no more.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible, McCarthy, that Vince has had a stroke of genius and is going to make Nikki Cross a part of the playground?
Oh, I hope so. Because there needs to be something a little bit different that differentiates Alexa Bliss and The Fiend at this point. Like, she needs somebody by her side that's loyal, like Nikki Cross.
Yep.
I mean, there were rumors that it was going to be Sasha Banks, but I would much rather take Nikki Cross.
I mean, I think all of them on the playground would be a very interesting scenario.
Very true. Very true.
A great segment.
Yes.
Great segment. All right, I'm gonna hit some high spots here because we gotta go. Gotta make double nothing predictions. Riddle defeated Xavier Woods. Thought it was a great match. It showed a side of Riddle we haven't seen as far as intensity in quite some time since his NXT days. It was fight pit-esque. Of course, he had the RKO. RK Bro lives on. That's great. Cedric Alexander, please never have a microphone again. Any presidential contender in 2024, if you say the words, I will outlaw Cedric Alexander promos, I don't care who you are, I will vote for you. I promise. These midterms coming up in 22, if you say Cedric Alexander no longer can cut promos, you got my vote. This was
Cedric
awful.
Alexander can no longer cut promos.
This was awful. He sounds like a prepubescent teen. He was doing the yell thing that you're talking about with Ethan Page. It was just bad. It was just awful. And once again, can we please get Shelton Benjamin's old theme song back? This current one is the Drizzlin' Poos. It's a night of White Castle compared to Steak when you're talking about those two theme songs. All right, Jackson Riker should never defeat AJ Styles. I mean, you can make an argument he shouldn't be employed, but I'm not here to tell anyone how to run their business. But he damn sure shouldn't defeat the best in the world, AJ Styles, under any circumstances. Don't care what kind of hanky-panky was going on. He's AJ freaking Styles. And for those of us that like TNA in the old days, AJ Styles versus Gunner on Monday Night Raw. Who called that in 2021? All right. Look, I think we've about covered it. We saw Sheamus versus Humberto Carrillo again. We saw Charlotte versus Asuka again. Because we don't have any new ideas.
Again.
Except
to beat the clock challenge that we, for some reason, revived.
Yeah. And who knew Charlotte Flair's making matches now, folks?
She is buddies with...
Yeah, but I'm saying,
Sonya
maybe that's
Deville.
who she was texting. I got a great idea.
Maybe.
Sonya Deville. I don't know. I thought it was probably Andrade. So
You would think so.
I would assume. All right, time to make our double or nothing predictions to get the hell out of here because Monday Night Raw was raw. All right, the Young Bucks versus John Moxley, Eddie Kingston tag team match for those AEW Tag Team Championships. Mr. McCarthy, who have you got in this bout?
I got Moxley and Kingston.
I got the Young Bucks. How about you, Napper?
I have Moxley and Kingston.
All right, we'll see. Sting, Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. That's right, it's Tag Team Palooza, double or nothing. Mr. Napper, who you got?
Sting and Darby Allin.
Mr. McCarthy.
I got Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page.
I got Sting. He's Sting. Darby Allin. You get the rub just from getting some face paint sweat. That's the idea there. The Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle in a Stadium Stampede match. If the Inner Circle loses, they got to break up for Alva. Mr. McCarthy, I know you're particularly concerned. Who do you got?
I think the Pinnacle's going to win.
Mr.
Especially
Napper.
because Jericho's going on tour here in about a month.
Mr. Napper.
I'm actually going to take the Inner Circle.
I'm going to take the Pinnacle, but I hope I'm wrong, or else there was no damn reason to do this match again. We've already had the blow-off, and Chris Jericho could have healed that elbow injury and spared us one of his worst promos in history. Thank you. I'll see you on tour there, big man. All right, number 4, the Casino Battle Royale. Whoever wins gets a future AEW World Championship shot. Not an Impact one. Mr. Napper, I'm not going to list all those names. I put them there. Who you got?
I was just reading through the rest of them. I'm going to take Jungle Boy.
Fair enough. I'm going to take Christian Cage. Mr. McCarthy, who you got?
I'm going with Jungle Boy as well.
All right, we shall see what happens. We shall see. All right, Miro versus Lance Archer for the AEW TNT Championship. Is it going to change TBS, by the way, I would assume?
I think they already came out and said that it's not going to change.
Why? We're not on? Okay.
They just don't want to change it.
Great. Mr. McCarthy, who you got?
I got Miro.
I have Miro as well, but again, I've given you the finish, Tony Khan, man. I have given you the finish. Turn Jake, cost Lance, keeps everybody in the ball game. We all look good, and Miro needs Jake more than Lance right now. Mr. Napper.
Yeah, I'm going to take Miro too.
Come on. All right, Cody versus Andy Agogo. And all the factory friends, and Arn Anderson too, and they'll all have a cheeseburger afterwards.
Factory friends.
Okay, Mr. Napper, because McCarthy is blue.
Oh, there he is.
Hi!
Hi!
Show's not over yet. We got a few matches.
I don't know what just happened.
Okay. Show's not over yet. We got a few matches. Who do you got in this Cody kerfluffle with him, Anthony Ogogo?
I got Cody Rhodes.
Who you got? Cody. I got Cody as well. It should be Anthony Ogogo, though, because he's a star and should put the young guy over. That's kind of how that whole making stars works. Stunner. Hikaru Shida versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, for that women's championship. Napper, who you got?
If it's not Britt Baker, I riot.
Mr. McCarthy.
I mean, I won't riot, but I still think Dr. Britt Baker's going to win.
Yep. I agree with you. DMD, it's time. All right, finally, Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac. I know they say that Orange Cassidy could, kick his championship match down the can. If that happens, then whoever broke that needs to go to the can and the unemployment line, because why would anyone ever do that, especially when he's... I don't like him, but he's selling more T-shirts than anybody in the company. So, Mr. McCarthy, who you got winning the triple threat?
I got Kenny.
Who you got winning the triple threat, Mr. Napper?
No, Kenny.
I do as well. That's right. The executive vice president keeps the world championship of this work. I think so. Yep. And nope. Let me look. Yeah, no mention of the Impact World Championship. Stunner. And I don't mean Stone Cold. The only thing Stone Cold about all this is how they're treating Scott D'Amore in Impact Wrestling. All right. Any final thoughts, sir, madam, people? McCarthy, tell them about that flagship show of the Bruzernation Productions.
Oh, you mean the Bruce Cruise podcast? The only podcast that brings you pro wrestling for your ears every Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time? You mean that one?
Yes, and if you missed this episode of To the Turnbuckle, when might this be uploaded onto Anchor?
Well, if Travis gets it to me before tomorrow, like 5 o'clock tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time.
I feel you. And you can check out all our shows where?
Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast. There's quite a few.
There's a fair amount. Every great platform. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Did you strategically do what I think you did behind your name, sir?
That was the greatest thing I have ever seen. I love this show. Final words, Travis Napper.
This chair is comfy. This chair is very comfy, and that was great. Oh, I'm so proud of myself for that moment. I pulled a Kofi.
You pulled an inner circle.
Yeah, but at least Kofi.
Yeah. that was. We have done. We got to figure out how many episodes we've done, but we've done a lot of episodes. That's one of the top 5 moments in this show's history. Yep. And with that, Logan, the Bucker Brigade, we thank you for tuning in to another edition of To the Turnbuckle. We will be right back here next Tuesday to review Double or Nothing, and I'm sure it's going to be a great pay-per-view extravaganza. How am I going to watch it? I don't know, because the Coke 600 is also Sunday. Yeah. But I'll figure it out. Help me out, YouTube. Help me out.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on, and then I promise you, people, beginning with the next, and I know I said this before and I lied, and I'm sorry, but I didn't know it was going to fall on the Coke 600. Beginning with the next AEW pay-per-view, we will do watch-alongs. We will get that figured out. We will begin to do WWE watch-alongs right here on To the Turnbuckle Facebook page. I do apologize that, yes, we told a fib. I didn't realize it was going to fall on one of the greatest days in motorsports history with the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. Because originally it was scheduled for Saturday, but COVID moved it to Sunday, you recall. Remember, it was supposed to be in. So we do apologize. So all things being equal, hopefully by the next AEW pay-per-view, we will be doing regular watch-alongs, and I can tell Mr. McCarthy how bad the product is right to his face over some pizza. Okay.
Wow.
Any last rebuttal, sir?
Your facetiousness is egregious,
I'm
sir.
not being facetious.
The product
I'll tell you
is
when
not
it
as
sucks.
bad as you say.
I'll tell you when all those curtain jerkers suck. There's no facetiousness to that. I just told you Chris Jericho cut the worst promo of his life. All right. With
Incorrect,
that,
sir. He's cut worse.
You're right. Stupid idea from a bad creative. All right. With that, that's Travis Napper. By the way, be sure to check out the Red Flag Podcast each and every Monday, 5 to 6. Sometimes live, sometimes not, depending on schedule.
Right.
But be sure to check it out. I'm on there. That's why I got this conflict of interest when it comes to Double or Nothing. It's because I love you. And check out Mr. McCarthy and go check out Bruzernation Productions and check out our merch, To the Turnbuckle, Red Flag merch, all Bruce Cruz podcast merch, all of it right there. Go to the website, click it there, and you get all the beautiful merch you could ever desire. Hell, you can drink it. You can drink suds out of a To the Turnbuckle Mesa jar. With that, and what's more Americana as Memorial Day comes up, we pray you have a safe and blessed weekend. Be safe, be well, enjoy family and friends, hot dogs if you're into that sort of thing. Go ahead. Sorry, vegans. With that, this has been To the Turnbuckle, presented by Bruzernation Productions, right here proudly on Heel Turn Wrestling. We will see you next week. Be safe, be well, God bless. We out of here.